Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Capitol Center. Welcome into the Rusty Bucket pregame show as we get set for Game 2 of the second day of the Christmas tournament being held here at Capital University. We have the championship game, but earlier today, Jimmy, we had the third-place game that which you called, and it was a win going away for Allegheny.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game. If you take away the first quarter, unfortunately, Misericordia just buried themselves. It was 25-10 after the first quarter. The rest of the way, it was a 17-point game, a 17-point win for Allegheny there. So it was just a 2-point game from quarters 2 through 4, but just kind of buried themselves in that first quarter. Lots of contributors for Allegheny. Off the bench especially, they had 5 players score at least 5 points for them off the bench in that game. So they really kind of just showed off their depth and really just took care of business after getting out to that big lead, Charlie.
So now we get set for the championship game this evening, and we got ourselves a great matchup as Capital gets set to take on the Knights of Calvin College. They hail from the state of Michigan, Jimmy. These Knights ranked 11th in the country.
Yeah, Calvin looked really good yesterday. They defeated Allegheny 86-67 to improve to 8-2. They went 30-1 last season. So I mean, this is going to be a really good team. We saw them face off, Capital that is, face off with Hope College last year. And this is kind of a similar game to that one, same time of the year. This one in the actual tournament last year. It came a couple of days after the tournament against Hope. Both schools from Michigan. So kind of a very similar type of game to expect. And it wasn't a really good result against Hope last year. Looking to change the fortune here this year, Charlie.
Meanwhile, let's now take a look around the Ohio Athletic Conference. 2 finals from earlier today. John Carroll defeats Ferrum 73-56, and Wilmington was 68-63 winners over Brescia. Coming up later tonight, it'll be Muskingum taking on Bethany of West Virginia at 6 o'clock. Marietta takes on Washington and Jefferson beginning at 7. And Ohio Northern will play host to Case Western Reserve at 7:30 p.m. Oh, by the way, there is one game currently in action at the moment, and hopefully the statistics here on my computer will cooperate. Right now, it is Mount Union taking on Babson College as part of their tournament taking place in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll give you a score update of that game coming up at halftime. In the meantime, earlier today, I was able to catch up with head coach Dixie Jeffers, get her thoughts on last night's win over Misericordia, and get her thoughts on tonight's game as her Crusaders get set to take on the Knights of Calvin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket pregame show. This is the Capital Coaches Corner, brought to you by the Rusty Bucket. I'm Charlie Danis. Joining me now, the head coach of the Capital Women's Basketball Program, Dixie Jeffers. Well, Coach, last night's 66-49 win over Misericordia. Cougars had 22 turnovers in that game. Your team was able to get 29 points off those turnovers. That's what pretty much sealed the deal for the win, right?
There's a lot of things. He still had to play for 40 minutes, but it certainly does help that when you convert to 29 points off the turnovers, I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but kids played very well defensively. I thought our shot selection was good, and we're going to have to play well today.
Colleen Fondesi had 10 points and 5 rebounds last night. Colleen had to come in for the first half, had to fill in for Kristen Thompson when she was dealing with foul trouble, had to fill in for Jenna Irwin as well in the second half when she was dealing with foul trouble. How valuable is Colleen to this team this year?
Colleen's playing very well right now. It's really difficult to decide whether to start her or to try to bring her off the bench because she's just doing a solid job. But we elected to go back with Simone at the point, and because we wanted to get off to a good start, and we did. We got off to a 9-2 start. Colleen's coming off. She's playing steady. She's playing with a lot of confidence, and she's getting better every time out.
You mentioned Simone getting back into the starting lineup. How'd she look to you?
Simone played very well last night. I thought she controlled our tempo. I thought she did a lot of good things. I think she needs to take command a little bit more going down the stretch, and that will come as the season goes on.
We're talking with Dixie Jeffers here in the Capital Coaches Corner, brought to you by the Rusty Bucket. Coach, one thing I've been noticing this year, 29.5% from three-point range. Your team likes to pound it on the inside. Yeah, you have shooters like Jenna Irwin, but not a lot of shots have been taken from the perimeter. Do you like the fact that your team averages 8 shots from beyond the arc, or would you like to see that number go up?
Well, we're 9-2 right now, so obviously what we're doing is working for us. So why go ahead and stir the pot and shake it up? We're very much a team that wants to do tempo and transition and take it at you. And free throws, last time I looked, wins a lot of games too. So you elect your poison. If you want to shoot from the three, the saying is if you shoot from the three, you're going to die from the three. So I'll take the high percentage shots, try to get to the free throw line, and keep pounding on people, because if people think you're going to run on them, they tend to leak out. Don't tend to get on the offensive boards as hard because they got to get back on you. So if you're constantly having pressure on people, good things are going to happen.
You're taking on a Calvin squad tonight, ranked 11th in the country. What impresses you the most about the Knights?
They're used to being here. They were an Elite 8 last year. They share the ball. I think I don't know if it impresses me or not. I think it's interesting to watch how many threes they take. They average almost 30 threes a game, and they're not shy about it, and they're setting everything up for that. So if they're going to go in, it's a long night for the team they're going. If they're not going to go in, you get the rebounds, it could be a long night for the Knights.
That actually leads me to my next question. How important is perimeter defense going to be in this game?
Well, you have to, against a team like this, you've got to go ahead and fan out the three-point line, and we have a scheme to go against them. How important is it for them, what they're going to do against us? It's a gamble, and that's why it's two good teams going to play one another, and it's going to be a cat and mouse game, and it's going to be a different team adjustments. Who makes the adjustments? Who does what their game plan is the best?
Their top two players, Allie Spade, a guard, 16.4 points per game. They also had a good forward in Anna Timmer, who's averaging 14.3 points per game. What stands out about those two players?
Well, Spade's her long distance ability. I mean, she can stand 5 feet behind the arc and shoot it. So we're very, very mindful of that. I saw him play 2 weekends in a row last year. And so I'm familiar with them. She's going to shoot the ball. They're all going to shoot the ball. What you have to limit them is the second opportunities, the second and third and the fourth opportunities that they got last night, and which they continue to get from the film that we've watched. So we have to be able to understand that all of our bodies have to be on their bodies when the ball goes up, and we have to make sure we limit their opportunities on the boards.
We'll get you out with this, Coach. Obviously, you have an opportunity to fluff up the resume, so to speak. But besides that, what do you want your team to get out of this last non-conference game before you head back into conference play?
This is an opportunity for us to come out as a measuring stick, and it's an opportunity for us to come out and be a very good basketball team. We have the ability to do it, and we just have to come out and play free and just get after it for 40 minutes.
All right, Coach, good luck against Calvin tonight.
Thank you.
That was head coach Dixie Jeffers joining us here on the Rusty Bucket pregame show. Much more coming up after these words.
Bruegger's Bagels has been bringing authentic New York-style bagels, breakfast foods, coffee, soups, and more to the world since 1983, and there is a location in Bexley ready to get your day started right. Located on 2510 East Main Street, Bruegger's is open Monday through Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturdays and Sundays from 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bruegger's also can cater your next event and can be reached by phone at 614-236-4000. Bruegger's Bagels is proud to support Capital University Athletics.
Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket pregame show as we continue to inch closer and closer to tip-off between Calvin College and your Capital Crusaders alongside Jimmy Bloomfield. I'm Charlie Danis. Let's now go ahead and set the table for Capital, brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. Well, Jimmy, last night we saw Capital play, defeating Misericordia by a final of 66-49. Not the most beautiful game offensively for Capital, but luckily for them, they were able to force a lot of turnovers against the Cougars and capitalize.
Yeah, outside of Kristen Thompson's production down low, they really didn't do anything special offensively. Thompson got in foul trouble in the first half, and the team really didn't know what to do without her on the floor, it seemed like, at times. You mentioned the turnovers. That was a big part of the story. Misericordia had the wrong sheet in front of me. They had 22 turnovers in that first game last night. So it'll be interesting tonight to see how they play. If they play like they did yesterday, I don't think anyone would disagree that they don't really have a chance in this game. Coach Jeffers, I said this in the post-game show yesterday, she comes up for her post-game interview, is always asking for a stat sheet. Where's the stats? Where's the stats? We got to make sure we got it for her. Yesterday, she just left it on the table, and she didn't even glance at it when she was talking to you, Charlie. I don't know if you noticed, but it just kind of shows you she wanted nothing really to do with that game. She said they're not even looking at film from it or anything like that, just kind of moving forward, happy to escape with the win. And I'm pretty sure the message was clear, probably coming into the locker room today, was we got to do a better job. We can't come out and play like we did yesterday. it looks like they're responding in warm-ups. They're having a really good warm-up session right now, and we'll see how they respond today. They're going to have a real tall task.
Speaking of that tall test, let's go ahead and set the table for Capital's opponent tonight, Calvin. This is brought to you by Capital Dining Services. Well, Jimmy, Calvin, one of the top programs in Division III women's basketball last year, had a tremendous season. They went 30-1. That one loss came in the NCAA Elite Eight, which means that they went undefeated until that point in the tournament. This year, Calvin 7-2. They're coming off of a loss against 2015 NCAA champion Thomas More. Lost that game 85-69. They made quick work of Allegheny last night. So they're just looking for one more win here to end this tournament on a good note. And it really all starts, Jimmy, with their guard, Allie Spade. Seems like she can do it all from the field.
Yeah, she kind of has a really awkward-looking shot, which we noticed in that game. You and I were here a little bit early to check out that game yesterday. It was effective for her still. She scored 2 3-pointers, had 10 points in the game. The real standout from the game yesterday was Anna Timmer, a guard listed on their lineup sheet. She is 5'10", though, and had 12 points and 14 rebounds. I would think she's probably the one to watch coming off of the hot game. It'll be really interesting. They have their lineup. They're listed as guards, forwards, or post players. They only have 2 post players listed. They're both tall freshmen that don't get a lot of playing time. So I would assume Thompson's going to get that matchup with Timmer. It'll be really interesting to see a kind of a guard, an athletic player, guarding Thompson, who is much more of a natural post player. It'll be really interesting on both sides of the ball who wins that kind of a matchup.
Let's now get to tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by the J Company. All right, Jimmy, what does Capital need to do in order to pull off the upset against the Knights?
Well, they've got to play better than they did last night. That's the first key. I really got to come out better in terms of intensity. I think they kind of sleptwalked through a good portion of that game, and I kept saying that they were getting by on talent. They were a much more talented team than Misericordia. Still are, obviously, but just kind of seemed like they were really sleepwalking through that game. They had a couple of players really play well. Fondesi and off the bench, just completely blanking on her name right now. Annika Watchman, I don't know why that happened. Anyway, those 2 were the best players off the bench, and really those 2 played well the entire game, I would say. Fondesi did miss some shots inside, but she made up for it later in that contest. Outside of that, Thompson played really well when she wasn't in foul trouble, and if you take those 3 out of the equation, it was just kind of a, that kind of a night for the team, kind of just a slow, didn't really have that intensity. Simone Gage had 9 assists very quietly in that game. Probably could have had 15 or 20 if the team would have just made some layups for her. So it'll be really interesting to see how they come out. They've got to come out and play with more intensity and slow down Calvin. Calvin's going to want to run. Capital likes to run only when they get turnovers. Calvin forced over 30 turnovers against Allegheny. So Capital's going to have to take care of the basketball, slow the pace down, and then know when to push when they get their own kinds of turnovers going, Charlie.
We will step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll have starting lineups and the opening tip-off here from the Capital Center. The Crusaders taking on the 11th-ranked Knights of Calvin College out of Michigan. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
I wanted to fly. They said I couldn't. So I built a plane, then a spaceship, then I went to the moon. I invented jazz, hip-hop, rock and roll. Some called it noise. I said it was music. I wrote a letter and sent it by ponies. We didn't get to you fast enough, so I used trucks and ships. But still, they weren't fast enough for me. So I lost the paper and the ink. I sent it by magic. I called it email. I made up new words: jukebox, bling, Google. And I decided some old words weren't okay to say ever again. The mustache. I tried to bring that back 17 times. I wore knickerbockers and shoulder pads, poodle skirts, and flannel. When I came back from World War II, all I had was a t-shirt. So I made that cool. In fact, I invented cool. Who am I? I'm the spirit of youth. It's my job to move the world forward. Pepsi. Every generation refreshes the world.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Capital Center. This is a presentation of women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network. Charlie Danis and Jimmy Bloomfield will bring you the action here this evening as Capital gets set to take on the Knights of Calvin College of Michigan. This is the championship game of the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Women's Basketball Holiday Tournament. Earlier today, it was Allegheny who defeated Misericordia in the third place game of this tournament. So now we get to the championship game. Let's now go ahead and give you the starting lineups. Brought to you by Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better. First, for the visiting Calvin College Knights. They come into this game with an overall record of 8-2 on the season, ranked 11th in the country. Their starting lineup looks like this. At guard will be the 5'8" sophomore from Lewis Center, Ohio, number 4, Allie Spade. Also at guard will be the 5'10" senior from Holland, Michigan, number 12, Callie Verkijk. Also at guard will be the 5'9" sophomore from Holland, Michigan, number 15, Bree Lertzma. Also at guard will be the 5'7" senior from Vernon Hills, Illinois, number 20, Abby Springer. And rounding out the starting five for the Knights will be the 5'10" junior forward from Caledonia, Michigan, number 23, Anna Timmer. The head coach of the Knights is John Ross. Meanwhile, the starting lineup for Capital looks like this. At guard will be the 5'7" senior from Akron, Ohio, number 14, Nina Napolitano. Also at guard will be the 5'3" senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 15, Simone Gage. Also at guard will be the 5'8" senior from Springfield, Ohio, number 20, Jenna Irwin. Also at guard will be the 5'8" senior from Bellbrook, Ohio, number 21, Shelby Sigmund. And then rounding out the starting five for Capital will be the 5'10" senior forward from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 24, Kristen Thompson. Head coach of Capital, as always, in her 30th year here in Bexley, the legendary Dixie Jeffers. Both teams being introduced out there on the court right now. Capital in their customary white uniforms with the gray and purple going down the sides of the uniforms. Purple lettering outlined by silver. Silver numbers on the front and back. Meanwhile, Calvin, a dark red burgundy for the jerseys, if you will. Black numbers outlined by yellow. Black letters also outlined by yellow.
They win the shoe game, too. They got some real cool yellow Nikes. Most of the players wearing them. Look like Kevin Durant shoes.
Is that orange on the bottom I see?
Yeah, some orange trim on those.
Okay.
Anyone listening, if you want to... giving, I guess, for the holiday tournament.
Just think, New Year's right around the corner.
I know, it's so crazy. This year really just flew by.
Bye-bye to 2015, and pretty soon we'll be saying hello to 2016. So both teams now retreat back to their respective benches. And, Jimmy, this is an excellent opportunity for Capital to see where they're at. Boy, if they would get a win here tonight, a great feather in the cap going forward.
Yeah, they were top 25 earlier this season, suffered a couple losses in OAC play, fell out of the top 25. There's a lot of teams actually in that top 25 conversation. Now Ohio Northern is the only one there. Be a huge statement win for them, like you said. Help out their resume for the tournament should they try to get an at-large bid maybe. If there was a year they could do it, this would be the year to get an at-large bid, but obviously they have their sights on winning the OAC, and either way, this game's going to get them ready for conference play once again.
Let's now get to the opening tip, brought to you by Zoe's Cafe. Kristen Thompson will battle with Anna Timmer. Ball is up, and the tip is won by Calvin. We're underway here at the Capitol Center. Controlling the ball is Allie Spade. Now she'll hand off to Verkijk. Verkijk trying to dribble in, but the ball is stolen. Irwin comes up with a loose ball. Ahead to Napolitano. Nina will pass out to Simone. Back to Napolitano on the left wing. Nina trying to go to work offensively. Back out to Simone. Simone on the left wing trying to get into Thompson. She does on the left block. Thompson back outside. Sigmund will let loose a long jumper. That is no good. And the rebound is taken by Anna Timmer for Calvin.
Thompson was triple teamed there on her first touch of the game.
Long three-pointer, and it swishes through for Allie Spade. She may have a hitch in her shot, but she makes it go down.
I was just going to say, there's that unorthodox release, but you can see the kind of range she has. She was about 6 or 7 feet beyond the arc there. Just rainbows it right through.
Napolitano on the right wing. Going over her options, bounces it over to Sigmund. Sigmund now to Gage on the left wing. Inside to Thompson. Thompson backing her man down. Off the glass and no good, but Thompson gets the offensive rebound. Fall-away jumper. No good. Jenna Irwin. Put back is good for Jenna Irwin.
And all the post players were converging on Thompson there. She had a double team as she was falling away and allowed Irwin to get an easy lay-in.
And Irwin now almost comes away with a steal. It'll go off of her hands. And instead, it will be Calvin. Whoa, hold on a minute now. Now we're having a conference here.
Yeah,
They're going to give it to Capital.
I don't know how that would be Calvin's. Irwin dribbled it right off of the leg of, looked like number 15 from Calvin.
That'd be
Bree Lertzma.
Yep. So Capital down 3-2 in the early going. 8:33 remaining in the first quarter. Just underway here with the Capital Center. Double team action. Napolitano able to break the press and get it over to Sigmund. Now a drive inside. Simone not able to finish the layup. Battle for the loose ball, and Calvin comes away with it. Spade looking to run with it. Now she'll have to slow things up. She's at the top of the arc. Spade will try to drive down. Now she'll kick it. A long three-pointer, and it's made by Callie Verkijk, senior from Holland, Michigan. 6-2 in favor of Calvin. A turnover now for Capital. Right back in the hands of the Knights. Nice touch pass on the inside, but it's rejected by Nina Napolitano. Nice defensive play by the senior from Akron. So now will be inbounded along the baseline by Abby Springer. She'll get it into the corner. Driving in and not scoring is Verkijk as Thompson pulls down a rebound. Capital trailing Calvin 6-2 with 7:48 to play in the first quarter. Napolitano drives, not able to finish the layup. But Thompson gets an offensive board to Irwin. Now over to Gage. Swung around to Sigmund. She'll go baseline. Sigmund off the glass and in for Shelby.
Again, Sigmund not really known for her scoring, but she can fill it up when they need her to. And this might be one of those days where they need her to, because every time Thompson gets the ball, she's got about 3 or 4 players, literally 4 players guarding her. They're going to have to get that quick ball movement going, and Sigmund's going to end up with a lot of open looks.
Verkijk driving in, loses the ball, and Thompson comes away with a steal. Capital trailing Calvin 6-4, 7:14 to play in the first quarter. Gage on the left wing, barking out instructions as Capital gets set in their half-court offense. Sigmund on the right wing now. She'll dribble to her left, bounces it over to Simone. Simone is going to lose it out of bounds. A careless turnover there for Capital as Calvin will get the ball back, but not before some substitutions for the Knights. Entering the game for Calvin will be Mackenzie Shelton and Tiffany Carter. Shelton, a junior from Niles, Michigan. Carter, a senior from Cedar Springs, Michigan. So Calvin now back with the basketball. Shelton will go inside, and the layup is good for Anna Timmer, 5'10" junior from Caledonia, Michigan. Napolitano quickly up to Thompson. Thompson is running, and she will be fouled on the floor. This will be our first foul of the game, first foul of the first quarter going against Calvin.
Lots of huffing and puffing from the Crusaders right now. They're a little bit tired, and it's going to be a quick pace today, so we'll see if that plays into the substitution strategy for Coach Jeffers. She goes to the bench a little bit more, but you've got to keep these starters out there as long as you can. They're the best 5 players for the team. Got to stay in the game.
Gage inside the Thompson, back out to Nina. Nina for 3. Nina nails it!
She'd been struggling offensively. We talked about it a little bit in last night's game, that she really needs one of those games to get herself going again, and today might be that day.
Off the fingertips of Anna Timmer, and it's a shame because she was wide open under the net. A turnover for Calvin, ball going back to Capital. So now Gage will inbound it to Sigmund. Now it's back to Gage. Now it's over to Sigmund. Calvin going with a little bit of a full court press, but Capital able to break it. Meanwhile, over to Nina, inside, Thompson, not able to get the layup to go, and it'll go out of bounds and stay with Capital. A nice job by Irwin that time, battling with Abby Springer, who's arguing with the referee that, hey, it went off of Irwin's hand.
Yeah, Coach Ross also not agreeing with the call himself. Irwin just kind of smartly walked away. Probably knew it was off of her, but don't show any kind of facial reaction to the official, and you'll get to keep the call there.
Sigmund on the right wing, bounces it over to Irwin. Irwin to Gage. Gage inside the Thompson. Thompson off the glass and in for KT.
She finally got an open look, because she's been just swarmed every time she touches it.
Capital 9, Calvin 8. 5:51 remaining in the first quarter. Abby Springer to the left wing. And once again, a careless turnover for Calvin as it goes off the hands, this time of Verkijk. Calvin will now make mass substitutions here. Coming in will be Bree Lertzma. Also checking into the ball game is Lauren Goldthorpe. And now we see Colleen Fondesi check in for Capital. The final substitution, there was a third person that came out there for Calvin.
And they're going to use a lot of subs. Again, they're trying to drive this pace up.
So Sigmund will get it in to Gage. Gage across half court. Now she'll slow things up. Capital working with a 1-point lead with a little over 5.5 to play in the first quarter. Irwin drives, kick out. Shelby for three. That is no good. It's an air ball, and the rebound is taken. No, Nina is diving on the floor, attempting a steal, and Calvin comes away with a loose ball somehow. I don't know how you would not call a jump ball in that situation, and it leads to a layup on the other end of the floor for Bree Lertzma. Gage ahead to Colleen, but Colleen was not able to hold on to the basketball. A turnover for Capital.
And Dixie went right to Gage and told her to kind of slow things down there. It was a good look. I think she should have pushed it to Fondesi, just a little bit off on that pass. Going back to that loose ball, it wasn't a jump ball because really no team had it, but there's bodies flying on top of bodies. You would think a foul at least or something would have been called, but the whistles are swallowed.
Drive on the inside, and scoring is Lauren Goldthorpe, the junior from St. Ignace, Michigan.
They've got so many players that can score on this Calvin team. Their entire starting lineup had at least 9 points in their game yesterday.
Fondesi on the inside, gets it to roll down. Colleen Fondesi for Capital.
Fondesi was one of three players that scored double figures for Capital last night. 10 points off the bench for her in that game.
Wild pass, three-pointer on the way for Carger, and Carger swishes it through. 15-11. Calvin with the lead. Under 4.5 to play in the first quarter.
Shooters are too good to be that wide open, Charlie.
And now a foul is going to be called against Goldthorpe for Calvin. That'll be the second team foul on the Knights. And now checking into the ball game for Capital will be both Annika Watchman and Chelsea Plough, checking in for Irwin and Sigmund.
Plough really needs to give him some good minutes here. She really emerged at this point of the season last year. Then she got that injury, was never really the same for the rest of that season, and we still haven't really seen that girl that we saw in the middle of last season at the start of this season. So we're hoping that Chelsea can really put some things together and give this team a little bit more depth off the bench. Right now, Fondesi and Watchman are being stellar off the bench. Erin Risner's given a couple of good efforts her last couple of games as well off the bench, and we're kind of waiting for another player to emerge, and Chelsea Plough would be the best candidate of all to be one of those players.
And now Irwin will check back in because Simone Gage currently is having difficulty getting her contact back in.
Well, at least it's just a contact issue because she's been battling an injury and looked 100% last night. Didn't have any kind of ill effects from it.
Plough to Irwin on the right wing, and she got bumped. It is Carter with the foul for Calvin. Third team foul for the Knights. So Capital will keep possession. Napolitano into Watchman. Capital trailing Calvin 15-11 with 4:05 remaining in the first quarter. Watchman to Plough. Plough top of the arc, swings it over to Napolitano on the right wing. Now inside to Watchman. Watchman dribbling to her left. Back outside to Irwin. 15 on the shot clock. Irwin back out to Fondesi. Fondesi, she'll dribble in. She'll pass it inside to Plough. Plough off the glass and in for Chelsea Plough.
There we go, Chelsea. There we go. Getting it going down low. Again, really was a very good player for them. Actually earned some spots in the starting lineup with how well she played as a freshman. And then, again, has not been the same since that injury.
And a two-point shot missed, but fouled on the play was Lauren Goldthorpe, so now she will head to the free throw line. You know, interesting note about Calvin, Jimmy, I was looking over the stats before today's game. Calvin, not a great free throw shooting team. As a team, they're shooting 51.3% from the cherry stripe, and the first free throw is good.
Calvin College has 3 losses the last 2 seasons. 2 of them came to Thomas More, one in the tournament last year, one you mentioned they just played on December 19th. A very good team, and they're really driving the pace of this game, but you got to give Capital credit for hanging in there. Nice headsy play there by Fondesi, too.
Fondesi was about to go out of bounds, but she did the smart thing and threw it off the leg of a Calvin player. So now Irwin checks out. Back in comes Simone Gage. Looks like she has her contact issue all resolved and ready to go. And now we have another pause in the action as 2 referees get together on the near side of the court.
Not sure what this could be about. Might be resetting the game clock. I think they put 3 more seconds on. Oh, 3 seconds off the shot clock is what they said.
Okay. 3:29 remaining in the first quarter. Capital trailing Calvin 16-13. An entertaining start to this ball game so far. Simone being double teamed. She'll bounce it over to Watchman. Capital once again doing a nice job breaking the press. 3 on the way for Colleen, and it's no good, but Pla with an offensive rebound out of bounds. It will stay with Capital.
Wow, what a rebound. She really got up there. 2 girls on her. They're just double teaming anything that enters the post, forcing Capital to shoot. They're really not a team that likes to shoot threes. And, you know, Irwin will take one if it's there. Same kind of story with Sigmund, but they really don't want to shoot from outside. Napolitano knocked down a 3 earlier, though.
Thompson checks back in for Capital. Meanwhile, Napolitano throws it away. Up ahead is Verkijk, and Verkijk loses it out of bounds, and it will still be Calvin basketball, but nice job by Simone Gage getting back on defense. And those have been the 2 big themes for me so far, Jimmy. Capital's been able to get back on defense and break that press.
It looked like Gage was trying to foul her and just luckily got the basketball.
Inbound from the baseline. They'll get it in, and loose ball. Thompson comes away with a steal for Capital. Gage will push it ahead to Watchman. Watchman on the left wing. Now she'll circle ahead to the top of the arc. Over to Sigmund. Shelby inside. It will go out of bounds off of a Calvin player. It'll stay with Capital with 17 seconds left on the shot clock.
And they're hanging with Calvin. I'm just worried about, again, the fatigue setting in at some point for Capital, as they're going to have to rely heavily on their starters in this game. Simone's going to be playing a lot of minutes especially.
Watchman bounces it over to Sigmund. Sigmund, 15-footer is good for Shelby.
It's incredible how Sigmund can go some games with shooting the ball just 2 times and other games goes off for 15 points. And she's just always an efficient scorer, just knows when to take her chances, I guess.
Calvin 16, Capital 15, and boy, Calvin got away with an arm bar right there. A foul is going to be called on the floor against Chelsea Pla.
How about a walk too, Charlie?
Yeah, Anna Timmer got away with murder that time. Mackenzie Shelton and Becca Richards, meanwhile, check into the ballgame for Calvin. 3 fouls on Calvin, by the way, 2 on Capital. Near steal for Watchman that time. Driving on in, missing the layup is Verkijk. Battle for the ball, and now Sigmund will get it for Capital.
Numbers.
Sigmund to Watchman, now over to Gage. To Thompson, back out to Simone on the right wing. Simone goes inside, Thompson trying to find a crease, but unfortunately her foot touched the baseline. It'll be a turnover for Cap.
Yeah, Gage put it just a bit too far out in front of Thompson, and she kind of stumbled as she went to catch it, and her left foot kind of just hopped on her out of bounds there.
Calvin 16, Capital 15. Mackenzie Shelton goes inside, and a traveling violation is now going to be called against Anna Timmer.
A make-up call there, I think. We talked about how Timmer got away with a lot that last possession.
And now coming in is Erin Risner, player that continues to impress for Capital. Had some good minutes against Misericordia last night, Jimmy.
Yeah, she's a really good defensive player. They're kind of trying to mold her into a Shelby Sigmund type player, it looks like.
Sigmund loses control, and Calvin is able to get a turnover off of that press for the first time tonight. 3-pointer on the way. No good. Thompson able to save it. And into Pla's hands, and a jump ball is going to be called. And the possession arrow in favor of Capital.
Thompson is really taking a step forward from last year. That's a play she doesn't make last year. Lots of hustle on that baseline. And just talking with Jeffers last year, you knew that she knew that Thompson had that kind of potential in her and was frustrated at times that Thompson wasn't showing it. And I think she had a really good offseason, clearly.
Risner, double team, gets out of it to Sigmund. Now to Gage. Gage dribbling to her left. Top of the arc, 13 on the shot clock. Gets it over to Pla. Pla back to Gage on the left wing. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Gage over to Sigmund. Shelby for 3. That's no good, but she was fouled, so now she'll have 3 foul shots to work with.
As the first quarter, we got about a minute left here. I think you have to be pleased if you're Coach Jeffers right now. You're hanging in the game and not even being outplayed at this point. It's a pretty even game. I would say Calvin is playing the style that they want to with the pace being kind of up there, but if you look at the scoreboard, they're only on pace for about 65 points right now.
Sigmund ties it at 16 with the made free throw.
And Cap should be taking a lead here. She just needs to split one of these two.
Second free throw is good.
I think that's their first lead of the night.
Second lead.
Second lead.
They were up 9-8 early on
That's
in this
right.
game. Speaking of Capital, Napolitano and Fondesi come back in. Chelsea Pla gets a nice hand from the crowd as she will go to the bench along with Gage. And the third free throw is good, so Sigmund money at the free throw line, 3 of 3. 18-16, Capital with the lead. Minute to go here in the first quarter. Drive along the baseline, now it's a kick out, a three-pointer on the way from Richards. It's no good, and Risner skies for the rebound for Capital. Now to Sigmund. Sigmund across half court, trying to navigate that full court press installed by Calvin. Now it's to Risner on the left wing. Risner to Sigmund. Sigmund driving in. Shelby will pull up for a jumper. That's no good, but Shelby gets an offensive rebound. And now a foul is called on the inside against Calvin, stopping the clock with 35.7 seconds to go in the first quarter.
That was like it was against the girl guarding Thompson there, and I believe that's the 5th team foul. So Thompson's going to be shooting 2 free throws.
So now Thompson will head to the free throw line.
Yeah, that is the case. It is the 5th. Scoreboard's just lagging behind us a little bit, Charlie.
So Thompson heads to the charity stripe. First free throw, no good for Kristen Thompson.
Now, I wonder if this was partially a strategy or not to put Thompson at the free throw line. Kind of the, hack a Jordan, hack a Shaq, whatever strategy you want to call it from the NBA.
Second free throw is good. Hack the KT or
Yeah,
something like that?
Yes, I mean, Thompson is a 56% free throw shooter, so it would make sense if they wanted to do that. And Moran comes into the game now for her.
We saw that a little bit in the Misericordia game as they were attempting to keep Thompson out of foul trouble. This will allow her to get a little bit of a breather here. 19-16, Capital with a 3-point lead. 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Calvin back with the basketball. Springer trying to drive. Layup, no good. Blocked by Colleen Fondesi. Calvin still with possession, however. And a foul is going to be called on the inside against Risner as she was defending against a driving Bree Lertzma. And that will only be the 3rd team foul on Capital. And more substitutions here now for Calvin. Let's see here. Checking in is Emily Van Vliet, the freshman from Granville, Michigan, and Allie Spade, who we haven't seen all that much in the first quarter here, Jimmy.
Capital has a foul to give here, Charlie, and it might be smart of them to use it if someone gets beat, like right now. And they do.
A foul's going to be taken with 9 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
Not the girl to do the foul, that's Nina's second, but at least the strategy is smart in that it looks like it would have been an easy 2 points for Calvin there, and they prevent that using that foul to give. I do like that.
Nina will check out because of that second foul, so now Watchman comes in for Capital. It'll be inbounded to Allie Spade. Spade behind the back dribble. Now it's a kick out. 2 seconds on the clock, and the shot won't go, and the clock will run out. At the end of the first quarter, Capital with a 19-16 lead over 11th ranked Calvin. We'll be back with second quarter action in just a moment. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Everybody, I'm Keith Jackson. College coaches work hard to beat their opponents, but now they're all on the same team to defeat Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's called Coach to Cure MD, and you can help. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 to donate $5 on your next mobile phone bill, or go online at CoachToCureMD.org. Text the word CURE to 90999 and help coaches cure MD.
Brought to you by the American Football Coaches Association. Standard messaging rates apply.
Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
Back here at the Capital Center, Capital with a 19-16 lead over 11th ranked Calvin. Charlie Danis and Jimmy Bloomfield bring you to the action tonight from Bexley. Long three-pointer, and it swishes through for Allie Spade. Tied at 19 now.
It's just such a bizarre shot, but whatever works for you. If you can make it count, why not shoot it? Unlimited range.
Ball will go out of bounds and will stay with Capital. It's still not as awkward as the jump shot employed by Sean Marion.
I guess so. Joakim Noah also.
Yeah. Irwin on the right wing. Inside to Moran, who continues to be in the ball game, but Moran loses the ball. And now Gage is going to be called for the foul. And she was reaching against Bree Lertzma.
Her second too now, I believe. Actually, I'm sorry. That is the guest, number 15, who has a foul already. I was looking at the wrong side of the scoreboard. Gage's first foul.
So it looks like Moran will have to stay in there for a little bit. We noticed during the break that Colleen Fondesi was being examined on the bench. And right now she's holding a cloth on her right cheek. She might have gotten hit on.
I think it's above her eye, actually, where she got a shot. I thought she was being evaluated for a concussion.
Three-pointer on the way for Spade.
Oh, man.
And, boy, you want to talk about a lucky bounce as it rows home for Spade. 22-19 in favor of Calvin. Just over 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Sigmund to Irwin. Irwin into Thompson. Thompson off the glass and in. KT with a big bucket. 22-21. Capital trailing Calvin by 1. 8:48 to play in the second quarter.
Couldn't ask for a better game to this point. Pretty much the game we expected. Back and forth. No team really blowing out the other yet.
A three-pointer on the way for Abby Springer, and it's good. Calvin's starting to heat up from the perimeter, Jimmy.
Maybe it's a shooting coach thing because she kind of catapulted that one too.
And now a foul is going to be called against Spade as she was pushing off against Thompson trying to receive a pass from Irwin.
It's a good girl to get in foul trouble. It is her first foul, though. Spade's got 9 points, 3 assists, 3 of 3 shooting from 3.
Callie Verkijk checks back in for Calvin. Capital entering the second quarter, shooting 43.8% from the field. And a turnover for Capital on the inbounds pass as poking it away was Springer. Now it's over to Mackenzie Shelton. And now a foul is going to be called on the inside against Capital. Are they going to get Irwin with this call?
Yeah, went on Irwin. They're lucky that was a foul. Spade was spotting up at the top of the key. No one within the same county as her. She probably would have knocked that one down.
And now checking in is Chelsea Pla. Checking out is Emily Moran.
Fondesi's at least joined her teammates on the normal part of the bench. She's no longer at the end of it like she was being evaluated. So I think we're going to see her back in this one.
I think so, too. Thompson guarding Spade.
That's a mismatch.
Spade open on the perimeter, and it swishes through. Boy, and when she makes her threes, it is nothing but net. And now a foul is going to be called against Calvin. I think they're going to get Verkijk for a reach-in foul.
Really poor rotation. Spade, again, was guarded by Thompson. It was a mismatch. Thompson smartly left her because she knew she couldn't guard her. Someone's got to step up and fill that spot and guard the shooter, and they're just not doing that right now.
Becca Richards, Anna Timmer, and Tiffany Carter.
They're also shooting an insane 77%, 7 for 9 from 3. Virtually all of them have been wide open, though.
Gage now over to Pla. Sigmund on the right wing inside. Thompson goes to work, gets the bucket to go, and a foul.
Just ran her over, gets the blocking call anyway. In the restricted area, and wasn't even close to having her feet set.
KT saying, get out of my way.
Yeah, Goldthorpe got the bad of that. Thompson's playing with some anger today. She's already got 7 points.
Thompson now at the free throw line. Shot is no good. Pla battling for it, out of bounds, and it will stay with Capital.
Nice job.
Chelsea Pla bringing some great energy off the bench tonight for the Crusaders.
Cap's actually out rebounding Calvin 11-6 right now.
And now a timeout's going to be taken by Calvin. We'll take a timeout as well. 7:46 to play in the second quarter. Calvin 28, Capital 23. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better.
7:46 to play in the second quarter. It is Calvin 28, Capital 23. Capital is shooting 50% from the field. The problem is Calvin is shooting 77.8% from three-point range, 7 of 9 from beyond the arc to begin this game. Inside the Thompson, and now a reach-in foul will be called against Anna Timmer. Another foul on Calvin.
Yes, both teams starting to get on that fringe of foul trouble. We're still really early here in the second quarter. Kind of flew through the first quarter, and play is kind of slowed down to Capital's benefit.
Abby Springer comes in for Calvin, taking the place of Anna Timmer out there on the floor. Actually, my mistake. Checking out is Verkijk. So now Gage will get set to inbound the ball from the baseline. She's handed the ball, going over her options. Now it's out to Plough. Now to Watchman. Watchman out towards half court, now towards the right wing. Now she'll drive, and Annika gets her shot rejected out of bounds by Timmer. Fortunately for her, Capital will keep possession. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
She's doing a much better job of getting to the basket. We talked about that last night. She had a couple nice layups in that game as well.
Sigmund needs to get it in, and she does to Watchman. Ooh, that was close to a 5-second call. Gage drives in, floater, no good. Sigmund bats it out to Watchman. Now it's to Sigmund on the right wing. Sigmund to Gage. Gage on the left wing. Trying to drive, floater for Gage. Off the glass and in for Simone.
Already 8 offensive rebounds for Capital. Calvin yesterday had 27 offensive rebounds in their game against Allegheny, but they're getting destroyed on the glass right now.
Driving in and scoring with a foul is Abby Springer.
Got Sigmund's first as well.
So Springer will head to the line, a 5'7" senior from Vernon Hills, Illinois.
Actually, fortunately, they called it on Watchman there, not Sigmund.
Trying to complete the three-point play. Not able to do so, but Calvin comes away with an offensive rebound momentarily. The problem is they lose it out of bounds due to Abby Springer just not being able to handle the basketball. So now Gage gets it in to Watchman. Calvin 30, Capital 25. 6:45 to play in the second quarter.
I'm wondering when they're going to get out of that full court pressure because it's not doing anything. Capital's really easily breaking that press.
Gage on the right wing. To Thompson. To Sigmund. Inside to Plough. Plough goes to work. And an offensive foul is going to be called against Chelsea.
Ugh, that's frustrating. I don't know. She kind of swung her arm out. That's what they called her for. And I guess you can make an argument, but I like the aggressiveness anyway. She's come out. She's playing with a lot more confidence than we saw from her earlier this season. Unfortunately, going to have to come out of the game, and luckily Fontasy's okay.
Colleen looks okay as she re-enters play. 6.5 to play in the second quarter. Calvin with a 30-25 lead over Capital. Springer handling the basketball for the Knights. Skips it over to Shelton. And another steal for Thompson. Up ahead to Sigmund. Sigmund to Gage. Gage, touch pass. Watchman has her shot blocked, but she recovers. Now it's over to Gage on the right wing.
Wow, they are quick. Calvin really recovered there. There was 3 or 4 open girls for Cap, and they all found their man quickly.
Sigmund will go baseline, driving. Shelby misses it. Ball tapped up in the air, over to Colleen. Colleen, long jumper. That is no good. Watchman comes away with another offensive rebound.
And they slow things down. Great job again on the offensive glass, and a really heads-up play from Fondesi with the shot clock running down there, taking that jump shot.
Colleen, top of the arc. Now over to Gage on the right wing. 16 on the shot clock. Gage, floater in the lane, short. And the rebound is taken by Calvin, more specifically Mackenzie Shelton. Shelton with a little bit of pressure by Gage, but she's able to break that pressure. Now it's over to Goldthorpe. Goldthorpe will drive on in and score. Calvin 32, Capital 25. Gage to Watchman. Watchman drives in, but she is cut off. So now she's forced to go back out to the perimeter. near the right wing. Annika just dribbling the basketball around.
No one's helping her.
To Fondesi. Fondesi bounce pass inside the Thompson, who lays it up and in.
And that was just taking advantage of Calvin being way too aggressive there. Defense shifted too far up, and Thompson was just wide open under the basket.
Calvin 32, Capital 27.
Charge all
and
day.
a charge is going to be called.
Good call. All day. Thompson was just standing there.
Anna Timmer called for the foul.
Thompson is gassed right now. She is really tired and just giving every effort that she can. She was really laid up the floor last possession.
Aaron Risner checks in for Capital. Meanwhile, Allie Spade and Emily Van Vliet back in for Calvin. And one more substitution while we're at it. Thompson, as you mentioned, Jimmy, getting a much-needed breather as Plot comes in.
They needed to get her out of there. Jenna Irwin also checked back in there, Charlie. And they really need to get her going. She has 2 points, 1 of 1 today. I would like to see her get a couple more shots going.
Watchman trying to navigate that press. Gets it over to Risner on the left wing. Now over to Colleen. Colleen to Risner, once again at the left wing. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Risner looking for some help. Loose ball. Irwin picks it up. Another loose ball. Calvin is able to get another turnover.
Shooter.
Allie Spade now handling the basketball for the Knights. Being guarded by Watchman. Thought about a 3, did Carter. Now it's back out to Spade. Spade from way downtown, and that is no good. Almost got that roll or that
almost
bounce.
got another one.
So now Irwin up the floor. Irwin trying to lay it up, and wow, how'd she get that shot to go? No glass, just set up a prayer, and the prayer was answered. Holy cow.
That was awesome.
Calvin 32, Capital 29. Ball will go out of bounds, and it will go Capital's way.
Can't touch anybody somehow. Risner coming off for Gage now, and Spade was open on both of those last 2 possessions. She missed the 1 shot, and then they didn't give it to her that time. You got to have someone in her face at all times. Don't give her any kind of room, and I think Watchman's going to switch on to guarding her now. It was Risner guarding her.
Irwin nearly loses it, but keeps control of the ball as Calvin continues to go with that full court press.
Irwin made that last layup look so effortlessly, kind of just sauntered into the lane and just threw it up.
Inside to Plaw. Plaw double teamed, and a foul is going to be called against Calvin.
Got to be something there. Either a travel or a foul. Might be a jump ball if she's overruled here from the sideline. And they're going to call it a foul.
Another foul on Calvin. So Plaw will actually go to the free throw line. It's going to be the 15th foul on Calvin in this quarter. Chelsea Plaw, 5'11" sophomore from Macedonia, Ohio.
I believe that's number 2 on Springer also.
Checking in for Calvin, Lauren Goldthorpe. Checking out, Abby Springer.
Springer has 2, as well as Goldthorpe, who just came in. Verkijk has 2, Lertzma has 2, Timmer has 2. Their whole starting lineup has 2 fouls except for Spade.
Free throw missed, but Irwin comes away with the offensive rebound. Boy, that's been the big theme for Capital. Their offensive rebounding has kept them in this game.
They're down by 3. This is where they got to make their move. They're playing against a lot of bench players right now.
And an offensive foul called against Capital. Didn't really see what happened there, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's odd. I thought they might have called a walk, but it was a foul. Maybe somewhere off the ball that we both were not looking, I guess.
4th team foul on Capital. Spade with the basketball for Calvin. Hands off to Richards. Richards going in, and oh boy, I'm sorry, but that's a bailout call if I ever saw one.
She just tripped into Irwin, and Irwin's going to pick up her 2nd foul as a result.
So now Richards will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. Really nothing you can do in that situation as a defender as the first free throw is knocked down. Coming back in is Thompson. Checking out is Plaw. Second free throw on the way for Richards, the 5'7" freshman from Fort Gratiot, Michigan. Second free throw is missed. Calvin 33, Capital 29.
4 rebounds already for Watchman, Charlie.
Watchman to Gage, out towards half court. Simone dribbles to the left wing, dribbling on in, and another foul is going to be called against Calvin as the fouls continue to pile up here for the Knights.
first foul. But, again, Calvin's whole starting lineup pretty much in foul trouble. Capital has a couple of players with 2 fouls, Napolitano, Irwin, and Pla. Got 3 players in with 2 fouls.
So now Simone at the free throw line. First shot. Good.
This is where they got to make their move. I just said that, but, I mean, you got mostly bench players out there with the exception of Spade. So really keep your focus on Spade here the last 3 minutes. Don't let her get anything from outside and just get good offensive possessions the rest of this half, and we could be looking at maybe a lead at halftime.
Simone misses the second free throw. It's 33-30 in favor of Calvin. Shot missed. Ball towards the far side of the court. Kept in by Carter.
How about that effort? She was the one that shot it from the other wing and flew all the way to the other sideline to get that rebound.
Spade to Goldthorpe, and Goldthorpe driving, and a foul called against Capital.
It's going to be on Fondesi, her first.
So now heading to the free throw line, Goldthorpe, 5'8" junior from St. Ignace, Michigan. First free throw, good.
Pretty much their whole roster from Michigan with the exception of Spade, who's kind of has a little bit of a homecoming from Lewis Center, Ohio, which is just north of Columbus, so a little bit of ways from here, but taking a loop around 270, you're pretty much right there. She went to Worthington Christian High School, excuse me.
Sure, she has a lot of family members in
I
attendance.
bet she does. Huge homecoming for her, probably.
Watchman to Gage. Capital down by 5. Sigmund for 3. Shelby misses it. Almost went down, and now a foul is called underneath. And the foul is going to go against Calvin, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson had the box out, and for some reason, Tiffany Carter tried to literally jump over her. And Thompson was not pleased about it. Not a dirty play by any stretch of the imagination, but she was so far boxed out. Pretty easy over the back call.
First free throw, no good for Kristen. And that was an ugly-looking foul shot, too.
And you can kind of see her put her hands on her head there. She was really kind of rattled the fact that someone just jumped on her back pretty much, and she needs to calm down here on the second attempt, I think. Taking a little bit more time on this free throw.
Thompson trying to collect herself. Second free throw on the way. Much better for Kristen as it goes in.
And again, just kind of showing the growth of her as a player. Last year, sometimes that side of her got the better of her. She's been a little bit more composed this season.
Calvin 35, Capital 31. Under 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. It's back outside. Springer hands off to Spade. Spade will dribble in, but Calvin loses it out of bounds. Cap ball. Now checking back in is Emily Moran for Colleen Fondesi.
Yeah, I don't think Fondesi is quite right still from whatever that injury was. Her getting hit in the face, I guess. And she kind of is still putting her hand on her head every once in a while, right on where she had that cut.
Gage to Sigmund. Shelby over to the right wing, back in the hands of Gage. Capital down by 4. Moran, top of the arc. Bounces it over to Simone on the right wing. They go inside to Thompson. Over to Watchman. Long jumper on the way for Sigmund, and Shelby sinks it.
9 points for Sigmund, and again, whenever she scores a lot of points, Capital finds themselves in ball games.
Calvin 35, Capital 33. They'll go inside.
Great defense.
Tough defense. Spade drives on in and scores, though.
That's not on Moran. She had great defense on that low post pass, and someone's got to watch a backdoor cut there.
Watchman. Now to Gage. Under a minute to play. Capital trailing Calvin 37-33. Gage will try to drive off the glass, and Gage not able to get it to go. The rebound is taken by Spade.
She's so good at getting to the rim, but sometimes that roll is just not there for her. Watch Spade, the shooter here.
Drive on in and score for Goldthorpe.
Someone's got to watch the cutter, too. That's the same kind of play from the last possession.
30 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Jeez.
And where's the foul? Holy cow, Simone Gage got mugged at half court.
Literally was wrapped up and tackled.
Sigmund, little jumper, good for Shelby. 11 points for Sigmund.
It's just always entertaining when Sigmund scores. She's got 11 points in this game. She's the leading scorer right now for Cap, and Gage is going to need a minute to collect herself and is limping a little bit on her right leg. Right hamstring is where she's grabbing right now.
This will be a smart play right here for Coach Jeffers, who is wanting an explanation from one of our referees, Nina Napolitano, coming in for Gage.
Napolitano has to be careful here. I know that she likes to go for steals, but you have 2 fouls. Just play smart and stay on your man.
Calvin with the last shot of the quarter with a 39-35 lead over Capital. They'll go inside. Moran with really good defense. Jumper on the way, no good. And that is how the second quarter will end. Well, give Capital credit. They are hanging in there with one of the top teams in Division III women's basketball at the half. It is Calvin 39, Capital 35. We'll have the halftime show coming up for you in just a moment. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Well, a simple kind of life never did me no harm. Raising me a family, working on the farm. Days are all filled with an easy country charm. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Welcome back to the Capitol Center. This is the Anthony's Pizzeria halftime show alongside Jimmy Bloomfield. I'm Charlie Danis. At the half, Capitol in a dogfight with 11th ranked Calvin. They trail the Knights 39-35 at the half. Before we get to the stats, let's get you updated with some scores around the Ohio Athletic Conference. Earlier today, John Carroll defeated Ferrum by a final of 73-56. Wilmington 68-63 winners over Berecia. Coming up later on tonight, let's see here, actually in about a minute or so, Muskingum will get things tipped off at Bethany of West Virginia. At 7 o'clock, Marietta will play host to Washington and Jefferson. And at 7:30, Ohio Northern will take on Case Western Reserve. We've been trying to get the score for you here for Mount Union. They're taking on Babson in a tournament in Nashville, Tennessee. But, Jimmy, apparently the stats are not cooperating all that much.
That's kind of the story sometimes. On the men's side, John Carroll defeated Bridgewater State. Again, that's going to be Capitol's next OAC opponent on the men's side of things. They're going to play at John Carroll on January 4th, I believe, maybe January 6th on that. John Carroll currently a top 10 team on the men's side, so it'll be a real tall task for Andy Winters and company. And Case Western defeated Otterbein 91-83, and Baldwin Wallace currently leading Defiance in the second half 39-30. And that again is the men's side of the OAC.
So let's now take a look at the halftime stats brought to you by Plank's Cafe. Let's start with Calvin. The Knights shot 58.3% from the field, a blistering 63.6% from beyond the arc, 7 of 11 from downtown, and only 4 of 7 from the free throw line, good for 57.1%. Surprise, surprise, Allie Spade is your leading scorer for Calvin. She had 14 points, 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point range. The rest of the scorers for Calvin look like this. 3 points for Callie Verkijk, 2 points for Bree Lertzema, 5 points for Ivy Springer, 2 points for Anna Timmer, 1 point for Becca Richards, 9 points for Lauren Goldthorpe, and 3 points for Tiffany Carter. Meanwhile, for Capitol, the Crusaders shot 45.2% from the field, only 1 of 4 from three-point range, good for 25%. And for the free throw line, they went 6 of 11, good for 54.5%. Leading scorer for Capitol in the first half was Shelby Sigmund. Sigmund, 11 points, 4 of 9 from the field, 0 of 2 from three-point range, and a perfect 3 of 3 from the foul line. 10 points for Kristen Thompson, as she continues to be one of the more dominant scorers the OAC has to offer. Also had 5 rebounds in that first half. 3 points for Nina Napolitano, 1 point for Simone Gage, 4 points and 3 rebounds for Jenna Irwin, 2 points for Annika Watchman, 2 points for Colleen Fondesi, and 2 points for Chelsea Pla. Turnovers are even between both the teams, 11 turnovers each for both Calvin and Capitol. Meanwhile, in terms of rebounding, Jimmy, Capitol with a big-time edge in that category, 21-10, and boy, oh boy, those 13 offensive rebounds have probably kept them in this game.
Yeah, we really talked a lot about the rebounding throughout this game. Only 10 rebounds for Calvin. That's just an insane number, especially considering Capitol has shot the ball 31 times. And like you said, the offensive rebounds really keeping them in it, and it's guards getting a lot of them. Watchman has the most with 3. Jenna Irwin also has 2 offensive rebounds too, so just kind of poor boxing out. And a lot of it is, again, the post players that would be getting rebounds for Calvin are just swarming Kristen Thompson anytime she touches the ball, that if Thompson misses a shot, a guard is left unguarded to get a rebound, and then they kick it back out and do the same thing. So I think they've done a nice job of kind of slowing things down. They've had a couple opportunities where they could have pushed maybe 3-on-3, but they always seem to slow it down because that's where turnovers are created. That's where empty possessions come from, and they really haven't had a lot of empty possessions in this game. They have had 11 turnovers, but they've forced 11 turnovers, so they're breaking even there. Both teams have 9 assists and 11 turnovers. Each team has 2 blocks. I mean, it's pretty even across the board. The difference is the rebounding for Capitol versus the three-point shooting for Calvin. That's the real story of the half.
Your halftime hero is?
I don't know. I guess Shelby Sigmund. I just always get a kick out of it. I don't know why. Anytime she scores, it just seems like she could be a real offensive threat for this team, but they don't really use her in that way, and she doesn't want to be used in that way. It's very odd, and it just always seems that she finds herself open, and she'll take her chance if it's there, and if she's not open, she's not going to try to force it and create empty possessions for her team. She's a very smart player, and she knows how to play within herself, and Dixie's found herself a real nice player in Shelby Sigmund. It doesn't always show on the stat sheet there, but one of the highest field goal percentages on the team. Unfortunately, it's kind of drugged down by the fact that she's shooting 2 for 12 from 3. But if you kind of take that out of the equation, she always finds herself in that mid-range area and knows how to get some points for this team when it matters. And even that game she had 20 points, she scored 18 of it in the second half, and she's really streaky. And I think she's going to get to 20 again tonight, Charlie, because she's the one that's being left open. Calvin is saying, we don't need to worry about her. Let's focus on Gage. Let's focus on Irwin. Let's focus on Thompson down low and just make someone else beat us. Well, that strategy doesn't work against Capital because Napolitano can beat you. Sigmund can beat you. Those players that you wouldn't think are offensive threats, they all have that in their strategy. If they're going to be wide open, they're going to get those points. And that's why Sigmund's first half hero. Long-winded, but that's the reason why.
Quickly, Jimmy, let's revisit your keys that you discussed in the pregame show.
Yeah, I think obviously it's the rebounding and the three-pointers are going to decide this game based on what we saw in the first half. Everyone's kind of doing their job right now for Capital. I would say Gage, if she could finish around the rim a little bit better, that would kind of be the story. But Gage is what she is at this point. She's going to get to the rim. Some of them just aren't going to roll. It's just kind of the way she kind of shoots it somewhat awkwardly. She makes the tougher layups than the harder ones, and it's the kind of player she is. Maybe if she can be a little more efficient around the rim, that would help out Capital immensely because she's doing a fantastic job of cutting through this defense. I think rebounding ways, again, the offensive rebounds are going to be there because Calvin's really not going to make any kind of adjustment because if they try to focus more on the rebounds, Thompson's going to have one-on-one matchups and they're going to get abused down low. So I think Thompson's going to have to be smart, stay within herself, and maybe look for some passes as well. But otherwise, the Capital players have to look to clean up that gas. And please stop letting Allie Spade shoot open threes. And please stop letting anyone on this team shoot an open three. Because it might be an awkward release. And you might think as a player, oh, they're not going to make it again. She's shooting it so weird. That's how I would think as a player. You can't think that way. You got to respect their three-point ability. And especially Allie Spade. Stop letting her shoot. I don't care if she's at half court. Don't let her shoot it.
Head coach Dixie Jeffers urging the crowd to get on up as we begin second half action here at the Capital Center.
We're going to see a lot of intensity in this half. Be ready, especially that fourth quarter. You can kind of see the tensions kind of building in that second quarter. I think this fourth quarter is going to be really interesting.
We're underway in the second half. Napolitano trying to get it over to Sigmund, and now a jump ball is going to be called, and that's effectively a turnover for Capital since they're giving the ball right back to Calvin.
Both these teams are going to have some big-time bruises because everyone is just hitting the floor. Anytime there's a loose ball, every player on every team is just hitting the floor trying to get that ball.
Calvin 39, Capital 35. In the corner, three-pointer on the way. Rattles in and out. It's no good. And a foul, let's see, is going to be called against Nina Napolitano. Actually, even though she was flung to the floor.
It went on Irwin, actually.
Oh, okay.
They said that she boxed out too aggressively, I guess. I thought it was going to be an over the back, but Irwin was the player in front boxing out a player from Calvin, and I guess too much contact there. It's going to be Irwin's third foul.
Spade to Lertzma. Lertzma driving in and gets the bucket to go. Actually, that was Verkijk, excuse me. 41-35. Calvin increasing their lead. Irwin. Bounce pass into Thompson, but she's not able to handle it cleanly. Another turnover for Capital. So now Calvin will look to slow things up here a little bit. Abby Springer out towards half court. Springer bounces it over to Timmer. Now it's over to Lertzma. Back in the hands of Springer on the right wing. She'll try to bounce on in there, but turnover. Gage comes away with it. Gage trying to run the floor. Bounce pass, and Thompson, once again, not able to handle the pass and claps her hands.
Took her eye off of it. She was open, kind of said to Gage, give me the ball, and then turned her head. Gage waited a second, and they just weren't on the same page. That's what happened there. Should have been 2 points, Charlie.
Second consecutive turnover for Capital. Calvin 45, Capital 35, driving in off the glass and in for Anna Timmer.
Not a good start to the half, obviously. Just got to calm things down, play within themselves a little bit.
Nina, bounce pass, down low to KT. KT not able to finish. KT with an offensive rebound, not able to finish the second time, but she was fouled. But the foul is going to be called on the floor. First team foul against Calvin in the third quarter.
I think it went on 15, I think is what he motioned there.
Bree Lertzma. And now checking into the ballgame for Calvin is Tiffany Carger.
That's Lertzma's third foul, so won't be seeing much of her. And again, the whole starting lineup for Calvin pretty much in foul trouble outside of Allie Spade.
Sigmund gets it into Fondesi. Colleen on the left wing. Over to Gage now. Gage pointing, shouting, directing traffic. To Sigmund on the right wing. Sigmund dribbling in, back out to Simone. Simone back inside to Fondesi. Now over to Nina. Now it's over to Gage. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Simone has got to go here. Simone driving on in, off the glass, no good. But back to Gage, off the glass, no good once again. And Calvin comes away with the rebound. Oh boy, 2 blank shots right there, and they come up empty. And a missed layup for Calvin. Spain missed it. Now it's fed ahead to Gage, but then it's poked out of her hands by Verkijk.
She's got to be more aggressive there. She kind of, she had the lane and didn't take it. She was kind of just messing around. I don't think she knew that there was a defender right on her back there.
Gage on the baseline. Inside. Fondesi has it knocked away. Boy, it's been turnover city here for Capital in the third quarter. And Napolitano, oh boy, with a hard foul that time. As she was just trying to get back on defense, fouling Verkijk.
She pops right back up. I'm telling you, Charlie, this fourth quarter, be ready. It's going to get pretty ugly, I think.
Verkijk will now head to the free throw line, and I think Napolitano is going to need to head to the bench here pretty soon.
I think that's her third.
First free throw, no good.
Yeah, 3 for her, 3 for Irwin. And it looks like Pla is going to come in for her. They're going to go huge here. They're going to have Pla, Fondesi, and Thompson.
So Pla will check in for Napolitano.
Sigmund's playing the 2 right now. We saw this big lineup a little bit with Risner playing the 3, and it worked for Capital in that second quarter.
Second free throw rattles home. It's now a 44-35 lead for Calvin. 9-point lead for the Knights. Sigmund driving in, bounce pass to Pla. Pla not able to get the shot to go. Offensive rebound, put back good for Chelsea.
Looks like the men's basketball team has come to support the women.
Calvin 44, Capital 37. Long 3 for Spade, and that's an air ball. And Thompson almost has it knocked out of her hands, but she's able to keep the rebound.
Spade was fading away from the basket.
Fondesi for 3. Colleen misses it, but Pla there for the offensive rebound.
Go up.
Over to Sigmund. Sigmund, jumper, no good. Battle for the ball, out of bounds, and it will be given to Calvin.
Yeah, Pla had 3 girls on her, but they all left the basket open. And I don't think Pla really realized that she had an open layup, passed it over, and at least got a good-looking shot from Sigmund. But Pla could have just probably gone up and got 2 quick points there.
Mackenzie Sheldon checks in for Calvin, who holds a 44-37 lead over Capital. 6:45 remaining in the third quarter. Long 3-pointer on the way, and it's knocked down by Tiffany Carger. It's now a 10-point lead for Calvin.
They can shoot, Charlie. They started 7 for 9. They'd missed 4 in a row. Finally got another one to go from outside now.
Gage gets it into Sigmund. Now it's back to Gage. And Calvin's called off the Dogs in terms of that full court press, so Gage is able to walk it past half court. Now on the right wing is Gage. Gage dribbling to her left. Now over to Sigmund. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Sigmund over to Fondesi. Now the ball is kicked by Calvin, so they will put 15 seconds on the shot clock. Sigmund will inbound it from the baseline. Gets it into Simone. Simone thought about a 3, but now dribbles in. Pla falls down for Capital. Fondesi dribbles in, not able to make the shot, and Calvin comes away with a rebound once again. Gage trying to intercept a pass.
Her head hit the ground.
And the foul is going to be called against Calvin.
Simone is grabbing the back of her head right now in some serious pain, and I don't know how she's going to be able to stay in. If it was a football game, she'd be out in a second.
Allie Spade checks back in for Calvin.
And she still has her hand on her head. Like, I don't know how she's able to stay in this game right now, Charlie.
No, she's one tough cookie.
And she finally is coming off now.
Timeout's going to be taken by Capital. Since it's a 30-second timeout, we'll keep it right here at the Cap Center. 6:04 remaining in the third quarter. It is Calvin leading Capital 47-37.
You understand Dixie wanting Gage to stay in this game because Nina's in foul trouble herself, and you already called a lot on Watchman. You can't really have her play the rest of this game, so I don't think she wants to go to Watchman yet, but she might have to, or might have to put Napolitano out there with 3 fouls.
So now both teams walking back to the court. Quick check of the stats here. Calvin shooting 56.7% from the field. Meanwhile, Capital, their shooting percentage is taking a dip here in the second half. They're now shooting 37.5% overall from the field. Only 1 of 5 from three-point range. Fondesi looking for some help. She'll get it across half court, thank goodness.
Gage is still out there, Charlie, and unfortunately, the best scorer is Irwin. She's in foul trouble right now for Capital, so someone else has to step up right now.
Gage to Sigmund. Sigmund, long jumper, and Shelby gets it to go down after 3 or 4 bounces off the rim.
And there's your girl that's going to answer the call right now.
McQuaid drives in, and that will go out of bounds. We've seen a lot of careless turnovers tonight by Calvin.
Yeah, Spade again driving and just kicking to nothing. I don't know if she's not on the same page with some of her teammates, maybe expecting them to be there when they're not, or if it's just errant passes.
Lauren Goldthorpe checks in. Annika Watchman takes the inbound after checking in for Capital.
Went the wrong way on that 3-on-2. Should have gone to Thompson there.
To Plaw, to Sigmund. Now over to Annika. Inside. Thompson fights and scores.
They got 2 girls on her, and it's not enough. She's still finding ways to get open down low. She's really becoming one of the top players in the conference, let alone on this team, Charlie.
Calvin 47, Capital 41. The Crusaders have cut it to a 6-point lead for the Knights.
Good job by Plav getting out there. Carger wanted to shoot that one.
Now it's over to Shelton. Shelton being guarded by Watchman. Now back outside to Spade. Spade will dribble on in. And now it's back out to Spade. Spade being guarded by Thompson. Thompson guarding Spade. And a foul is going to be called against Sigmund.
Looks like a lot of ball, Charlie. Fortunately, the official didn't really have the view of it that we did because the ball was kind of presented towards us, towards the back of the defender. So he kind of was trying to look through the back of Sigmund to see where her hand was, and you can see why he made that call, but the ball doesn't lie, as they say.
Spade misses the first free throw. Checking in is Emily Van Vliet. Looks like Rachel Carger also checks back in. Colleen Fondesi will also be coming in for Capital, taking the place of Thompson out there on the floor. Boy, Thompson just continues to have a great game here for Capital, a much-deserved breather. Let's see if Colleen can provide some quality minutes here now for Capital.
Yeah, I wouldn't keep KT on the sideline for too long, Charlie.
Second free throw is good for Spade. It's Calvin 48, Capital 41. Sigmund driving, and she's going to be called for a traveling violation.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Too many pivot feet down low. She tried to stop her momentum. 13 for Sigmund, 12 for Thompson, and no one else on the team has 5 points.
And a steal. Simone was able to poke it away and save it.
Went halfway up the bleachers afterwards.
That's hustle for you right there. Watchman bounces it over to Plaw. Now over to Gage. Gage on the left wing to Fondesi. Fondesi near the foul line to Annika. Annika back to Colleen. Inside. Chelsea battling. And the ball will go out of bounds and stay with Capital. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Looked as though that Plaw was fouled there for a minute or so, but no call. So now Abby Springer checks back in for Calvin. 4:16 remain in the third quarter. Capital trailing Calvin 48-41.
We've had plenty of fouls in this one. I don't think we can complain about a lack of a call there.
Gage, step back jumper. No good for Simone. And it is saved, and now a jump ball is going to be called. It will go the way of Capital.
Watchman, that's tough right there. Severely oversized there. That was Van Fleet at 6'2", getting that rebound. Watchman is listed. We say listed at 5'6".
I think that's a little generous. Gage. Into Plaw. Plaw off the glass, no good. Rebound taken by Goldthorpe.
Find themselves down by 7, and just a couple possessions, they get a couple breaks, and could be a tie game right now. Got to keep fighting.
Spade over to Timmer. Timmer driving in. Timmer losing the ball. And a shot missed by Van Vliet. Pla gets the rebound.
Go
to Gage. Gage will bounce it over to Sigmund. Sigmund closer, jumper, no good. Bounce back out to Sigmund.
Now you relax, and this is good. Get it right back to Gage. Get into your offense. Make it a 2-possession game here.
Gage on the right wing. Bounce it over to Pla. Now over to Sigmund on the left wing. 17 on the shot clock. Watchman now in the corner. Watchman dribbling towards the hoop. And she was fouled on her way to the bucket. I don't know if that was a shot or a pass, but either way, she's going to the foul line.
Yeah. Watchman, a very good free throw shooter. Looks like it might be on the floor, actually. So they did think it was a pass. Too bad.
So Thompson comes back in, and Chelsea Pla once again gets a good hand from the crowd as she will go to the bench, excuse me.
Pla had a layup there that was waved off because of that foul. I'm not sure if they're not going to go to Thompson right away here.
Becca Richards in for Calvin. Thompson misses the bunny. And, boy, there was a lot of contact there, but Calvin comes away with the rebound. Now Gage comes away with the steal. Simone in the lane, but she'll be forced to slow things up as everybody was just trying to get back on defense.
Nice job of the official to get out of the way, too, there on that steal from Gage.
Gage on the right wing. 16 on the shot clock. Watchman now on the left wing, inside. KT going to work. KT flips it up and in.
Automatic when she's one-on-one like that. Bad strategy there from Calvin.
Calvin 48. Capital 43. Missed shot. Thompson grabs the rebound for Capital.
Ooh.
A strong rebound for KT. Maybe got a little over-aggressive there with the elbows, but oh well.
I thought Thompson was going to launch a pass to Watchman. We've seen her make that mistake this season, but was smart there not to try to force a pass up the court. Can make it a one-possession game with a bucket here.
Sigmund on the left wing.
Being fronted real hard here.
To Gage now on the right wing.
Mismatch.
Back to Sigmund. Now Thompson loses the ball, and it will be Calvin basketball.
They had the mismatch. Thompson got a switch and was guarded by Spade. And Spade was fronting her hard. They just couldn't get it to her, unfortunately. Looks like Irwin's getting ready to come in, and that's good that you're able to keep this game close. And then Irwin makes a couple of threes. We're right back in this thing.
Allie Spade, meanwhile, handling the basketball for Calvin. 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Calvin 48, Capital 43. Now it's back to Spade. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Spade is wanting a screen, but Gage is providing good defense, but then a foul is called against Simone.
Late in the shot clock. That one hurts.
So now Irwin and the Napolitano check in. Sigmund and Watchman will check out.
Well-deserved breathers for them.
1:49 to play in the third quarter. Capital trailing Calvin 48-43. And now Calvin's going to be called for a foul before the ball's even inbounded.
It's going to go on Timmer, and that's her third.
And Timmer better watch herself as she gets a warning from one of the officials. She'll be forced to check out of the game. She is incredulous at this point.
She should be. I didn't see anything there either.
Lauren Goldthorpe will check in for Calvin.
It's her third foul, and like you said, she's got to be careful.
Irwin to Gage. Gage past half court to Irwin. Irwin bounces it to Gage. Capital now goes into the half court offense. 15 on the shot clock. Napolitano to Thompson. Thompson drives in. KT comes through.
This is the time to, again, take advantage because 4 of the 5 starters have 3 fouls for the visiting Calvin College.
Shelton, now a three-pointer. That's missed. Gage somehow gets the rebound with that 5'5" frame of hers.
Jeez.
And now she's run out of bounds, essentially. Another foul is going to be called against Carger.
Gage hit the scorer's table, hit the outside of it.
We've seen her head bounce off the court.
She's taking a beating right now.
She's one tough cookie, though.
I don't want to say it was dirty or anything like that, but a lot of contact there, especially while she's nearing the scorer's table. Almost essentially body checked into it.
So now Simone, free throw line. First shot good.
How about that? Just comes to the line and knocks it down.
Ain't no thing.
It's on like one leg right now, probably. I think Watchman will come in for the shooter here.
So now Sigmund.
No, actually, she's going to come in for defense.
Yeah, Sigmund and Watchman come in. Irwin and Napolitano come in.
Kind of go offense or defense, and the reason for that being that both of the subs that came out for Cap have 3 fouls, so you don't want them playing defense.
Second free throw. Good for Simone. Capital down by 1. 1:10 remaining in the third quarter. We still have a fourth quarter to play in this one.
And it's going to be a really intense one. And Gage right now, I think she's pretty much just running on momentum right now, and I would just leave her out there because I think if you try to take her out, she'll tell you no.
Shelton passing in. Loose ball. Out of bounds, and it'll be Capital basketball.
Watchman has done a fabulous job on Spade. Anytime she's been the one guarding her, Spade really hasn't done any damage.
So now Capital with an opportunity to take the leader before the end of the third quarter. 52 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Fed ahead to Sigmund. Sigmund driving, loses the ball, but Thompson gathers it. Watchman on the inside, back outside the gauge, and they will now reset in the half court.
And she's a better leader than me because I would have popped that thing right there. She's a smarter player than that, though.
Sigmund to Fondesi, inside. Thompson was fouled on the floor.
Doesn't matter. It should be the 5th team foul, so she's going to go to the line anyway. Chance to take the lead. How about that? They were down by 7. I think it was 48-41, in fact, in the middle of a 6-0 run right now. Calvin hasn't made a field goal, Charlie, since the 6:42 mark of this quarter. Been over 6 minutes.
First free throw, good for Thompson as she gets it to roll in.
This rim has been much more friendlier than the other rim. And luckily we're going this way in the fourth quarter also.
There you go. Checking in for Calvin, by the way, Bree Lertzma.
Yeah, Carter has 4 fouls meanwhile, who just came off, and Lertzma has 3. So they're running out of bodies down low that they can throw out there, and if they can continue to get some fouls, Thompson's going to eat in the fourth quarter.
Thompson nails the second free throw. Capital with a 1-point lead, 49-48, 32.9 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
17-9, and we might have our tournament MVP. Doesn't even matter who wins this game. I think you have to give it to Thompson. She's been too good in both games.
Allie Spade with the ball for Calvin. Hands off to Richards.
Ooh.
And now a foul's called against Capital.
That hurts. Sends Calvin right back to the free throw line.
And so now Richards will head to the free throw line. 23.1 seconds remaining in the third quarter. So, hey, at the very least, Capital can hold for the last shot of the quarter. First free throw is good for Richards.
Richards 5 for 9 on the season entering today, so now 6 for 10 at the free throw line. Not really a relevant sample at all.
Richard.
Look good on that first one.
Second free throw's good. 50-49, Calvin with a 1-point lead. Shot clock turned off. 18 seconds to go in the third quarter. Watchman on the right wing. Over to Fondesi. Now it's bounced over to Napolitano.
Sigmund's wide open.
Sigmund on the right wing. Back to Fondesi. 7 seconds. Napolitano now with the basketball. 5. Nina driving down the lane. Not able to get the shot to go, but she was fouled. So now Nina will head to the free throw line. 2.7 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Another really late whistle, too. Oh, man, they missed Sigmund, though, earlier. She was standing all alone, and they took way too long to get it to her. But they do get to the free throw line, make these free throws, play some defense for 3 seconds, and you got a lead going into the fourth quarter.
Nina's first free throw. Good. Tied at 50.
Fortunately, Capital has a bunch of very good free throw shooters. Irwin's good. Napolitano's good.
Gage is good.
Watchman, Gage. Sigmund even is pretty good at the free throw line. Pretty much everyone that you want shooting free throws makes them for you.
Second free throw good for Napolitano. And now Risner and Pla will check in. 2.7 seconds remaining. Risner and Pla in for Capital. Calvin with the basketball. They'll get it in quickly to Shelton. Shelton ahead, and the shot will not count. Buzzer went off before the shot was launched. Well, folks, get ready for an exciting fourth quarter. At the end of 3, it is Capital 51, Calvin 50. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
And is a proud supporter of Crusader student athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Fourth quarter starting right now here at the Capitol Center. The Crusaders leading the Knights of Calvin 51-50. Charlie Dames, Jimmy Bloomfield bringing the action tonight from Bexley. Kelly Verveek, and boy, Calvin might have gotten away with a foul right there as Watchman took a dive, and Calvin regains the lead thanks to a made layup by Verveek.
Someone's got to help her out here.
Simone able to break the press. Now it's over to Watchman. Watchman to Gage. Gage over to Fondesi. Now to Sigmund on the left wing. Sigmund to Watchman in the left corner, excuse me. Now it's to Gage. 5 seconds. Watchman will launch a three. Annika nails it! 54-52, Capital with a 2-point lead. Calvin quickly back down the floor. A three-pointer on the way. That is no good. Thompson grabs the rebound for the Crusaders. Now it's ahead to Watchman. To Sigmund on the left wing. Watchman will now swing it all the way over to Gage on the right wing. Simone going to work from the point guard spot. Now it's to Fondesi. To Watchman. Watchman to Sigmund. Now back to Annika. Now it's over to Gage inside. Thompson off the glass and in. KT doing work on the low block.
Way too easy. Again, a one-on-one matchup, and they're fronting Thompson, but that was too easy of a pass. Gage just had to put it up high, and Thompson does the rest. 20 points now for Thompson and 9 rebounds. Unbelievable effort from her today.
Calvin with a quick timeout. We'll take a quick timeout as well. 8:36 remain in the fourth quarter. Capital 56, Calvin 52. This is Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
For great food at low price, be sure to visit Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital University campus. Peking Dynasty has a large selection of Chinese food and sushi, along with great-tasting chicken and beef selections that can please any appetite. In addition, Capital University students receive discounts with a valid ID any day of the week. That's Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital campus, where we are proud to say, Go Cap!
Back here at the Capital Center, 8:36 remain in the fourth quarter. Capital with a 56-52 lead over 11th-ranked Calvin. The Knights back with the basketball. Becca Richards across half court. Now it's over to Timmer. Three-pointer on the way. That is no good, but the offensive rebound is taken by Lertzma. Now it's swung back around on the right wing, driving in, and scoring is going to be Anna Timmer. It's now a 56-54 lead for Capital. Watchman on the right wing.
5 starters are in right now for Calvin. They're really going for it at this moment. And they all have 3 fouls, Charlie, so you got to watch out for that. Spade's the only one that doesn't have a foul of the group.
Sigmund, baseline, drive. Shelby not able to get the shot to go. KT gets the ball back, fouled on the shot. So now Thompson heads to the free throw line.
I don't think we've seen her play at a higher level than she's playing today, Charlie.
Boy, she's got 18 points, 9 rebounds. Also has an assist to her credit. So now Thompson gets a chance to add to that point total. Knocks it through. 19 points now for Thompson. Actually, she has 21 points, excuse me. My stats needed to be updated.
There you go.
21 points, 11 rebounds. Second free throw on the way. That's good for Thompson. And now KT will take a breather.
Gets a nice ovation. She deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
They're up by 4. If you can just play some defense here for a couple minutes and buy Thompson some time for the stretch. It's going to go that much more in your favor.
Goldthorpe driving. Goldthorpe got fouled by Sigmund.
I like how Sigmund kind of puts her arms up like she didn't do anything wrong when she kind of launched her hip at her. And she doesn't get, a lot of the time, to her credit, she doesn't get fouls called against her. You can kind of get away with fouling with your body sometimes, but it's good officiating to catch that there.
Goldthorpe misses the free throw. I talked about this, Jimmy, at the beginning of the broadcast. Calvin is not a good free throw shooting team. Only around 50% or so. Goldthorpe's second free throw is missed, but the offensive rebound is taken by Springer. Springer trying to drive on in against Watchman. Now she's double teamed by Plough. And a near turnover out of bounds, but it will stay with Calvin.
It's a piggyback on that point about the free throw shooting against Allegheny last night. They went 15 for 25 from the free throw line, just 60%.
Leaving a lot of points at the cherry stripe this evening. So now inbounding it from the far side is Springer. She'll get it in to Shelton. Shelton on the right wing, being guarded by Plough. Shelton will drive on in, kick it out. Three-pointer on the way for Springer. Springer, air ball, Plough with the rebound. Now it's to Simone. Pushed ahead to Watchman. Watchman will now slow things up and back out to Gage. Capital working with a 4-point lead. 7-12 remaining in the fourth quarter. Gage trying to size up her man behind the back. Gage, jumper is good for Simone. Oh, that was sick, nasty.
I told you she makes the hard ones. Went behind the back for a left-handed floater. Got the men's team off their feet over there.
Capital 60, Calvin 54. Another timeout taken by Calvin. Let's take a timeout as well. 6:54 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is Capital 60, Calvin 54. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
14 TVs to watch your favorite team or the next big event. Planks Cafe and Pizzeria in German Village is ready for you and your group today. Plenty of free parking, free Wi-Fi, banquet rooms for private parties, and daily specials. What more reason do you need to visit Planks Cafe and Pizzeria? Planks is located at 743 Parsons Avenue and has been serving the Columbus community since 1939. Planks is on the web at plankscafe.com or available by phone at 614-443-6251. Planks Cafe and Pizzeria is a proud supporter of Crusader Athletics.
6:54 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital with a 60-54 lead over 11th ranked Calvin. A lot of time left in this game. Boy, this would be a big win for Capital. Heading into the new year, heading back into conference play, but first they got to take care of business against a Knights team that lost only one game the entire season last year, and that came in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. Springer inbounds it for Calvin to Shelton. Shelton near half court. Around the right wing. Now it's handed off to Springer. Springer trying to drive on in, finds a wide open Lurtsma, who converts at the rim. And now it's poked away on the inbound by Goldthorpe, but it will still be Capital basketball.
Yeah, Plough tried to throw that thing in, and then Gage said, all right, you go down the court, I'll throw this thing in. Try to get it over to Watchman or Sigmund now as they'll beat this press. Don't count Calvin out right now. You know, the momentum's certainly in Capital's favor, but this is a nationally ranked team for a reason.
Gage on the left wing. Dribbling to her right. Now over to Plough. Now to Watchman on the right wing. Watchman to Sigmund in the right corner. Sigmund dribbling. Now to Gage. Gage, 10-foot jumper. Might have gotten hacked, but Plough gets the ball back off the glass. No good. Thompson back up and in for KT.
They have no answer for Kristen Thompson right now. We mentioned that it's a 5'10 Timmer guarding her, but she's listed as a guard on their roster. They don't really have a true post player, and Thompson is just going to work down low because of that.
Shelton dribbling around to the top of the arc. Shelton now passes off. Now it's over to Spade for three. Spade knocks it down.
She had just a hair of room there, and it was enough.
Capital 62. Calvin 59. Coming up on 5.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Gage up towards half court. Gives it to Sigmund on the right wing. Now it's over to Watchman. Watchman to Sigmund in the left corner. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Shelby inside the KT. KT outside for Simone for three. No good. But Shelby battling for the loose ball. It's tipped up in the air, but Calvin eventually comes away with it. They got a 3-on-2. Pla puts her arms up and rejects it. Chelsea Pla with a big defensive play. Jumper on the way. It's no good. Calvin comes away with the offensive rebound.
Watch out. Spade's open.
Spade for three. No good. Out of bounds. Capital will get the ball back.
Whew, they get lucky there. No one found Spade. First off, an amazing block by Pla, and then Spade caught it on the ground, somehow got it to an open teammate. She missed the shot. Another crazy offensive rebound. No one guarded Spade, and Spade is actually grabbing at her right hamstring right now. She's going to stay on the floor and play through it, but something to keep an eye on. And now the offensive reserves coming in. You have Jenna Irwin, who's been really quiet tonight, and she's got some points in her still.
Gage. Now it's up to Irwin. Irwin, 10-foot jumper. Ooh. That was woefully short, but Colleen saves it. Nina now back out to Simone.
You talk about executing a game plan. So much patience in this offense. They've been getting it back to Gage with 20 on the shot clock.
Simone driving forward. Step back J for Gage. No good, but Thompson's right there. Not able to get the putback to go.
Oh, she
Thompson
didn't have to save it.
Was able to save it and gets it back to Irwin.
Oh, she didn't even have to go for it.
And now a loose ball. Irwin trying to go for Fondesi. Fondesi. Now a kick ball is going to be called against Calvin, I think.
It should.
No, it's going to go against Capital.
What happened was Fondesi was on the ground, and then the ball rolled between her legs, so then she kind of squeezed her legs together to kind of linchpin it, and you can't do that. That's what the kick ball, it wasn't really a kick ball, more of a held ball with her legs, which you're not allowed to do. And kind of kicking it around in between yourself.
4:15 in the fourth quarter. Capital with a 62-59 lead over Calvin. It's over to Karger. Karger hands off to Verkijk. Verkijk driving in. Verkijk got fouled. Shot missed, but she will head to the free throw line.
And luckily it spun off there. Calvin could be looking at tying this game. Well, this one has lived up to the billing. No doubt about that.
This has been a great championship game. Verkijk's first free throw is good. The championship game of the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Women's Basketball Hall of Day Tournament.
There's a mouthful.
Yep. Allegheny defeating Misericordia in the third place game earlier today. Winner of this game, well, wins the championship. Irwin checks out. Watchman back in for Capital. Here comes the second free throw for Verkijk, the 5'10" senior out of Holland, Michigan. Second free throw is good. It's now a 1-point lead for Capital, 62-61, 4:05 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, same game plan here. You just spread the floor out, let Thompson find a way to get open down low and find that entry pass. That's what they've been doing. It's been working.
Watchman breaks the press, racing up the court, and now she'll kill her dribble. Ooh. Almost lost it out of bounds, but gets it back into Gage. Under 4 to play. Watchman to Fondesi. Colleen on the inside. KT has an opening and scores.
What did I tell you? Find that entry pass.
Fondesi gets the steal. Now it's back to Gage. And Capital will be able to kill some more clock.
And see, that's when they would normally go for a quick basket or something like that, but they've been so smart at when to not go for that and just slow things down. Get
to KT. Now back to Simone at the top of the arc. Simone will drive in, dishes to Thompson, off the glass and in. Once again, KT coming through in the clutch.
And Gage, smart to not shoot again. She could have shot a wide open three-pointer, instead knew that she could get Thompson later in the possession.
Spade fouled, driving towards the hoop. The foul's going to be on the floor, however. Should mention this. Calvin only has one foul. That's going to be only the third team foul on Capital in this quarter.
Yeah, this is kind of that situation where Calvin might want to let some fouls go here so that they don't have to foul 4 times to send Capital to the free throw line in the last minute.
They'll get it into Spade. Spade will try to drive on in. Nearly had her pocket picked against Simone Gage, but Gage is going to be called for the reach-in.
Gage left the floor for about 50 seconds or so in that end of the third quarter. Other than that, she's played every minute of this half. She's been flown into a score table. She had her head smack against the ground, and she's just giving some quality, tough minutes right now.
Lurtsma inside to Timmer. Timmer will now back things off to the right wing. She'll hand off to Spade. Spade, long three-pointer, back iron, no good, but the rebound is taken by Calvin in the form of Lurtsma. Now Spade will try to get it in. Fondesi saves it for Capital. Another turnover for Calvin. She'll feed it ahead to Watchman. Fondesi will. Inside the Thompson. Thompson gets the bucket. Not to go, but she had a defender all over her back, so now she'll go to the free throw line.
28 points and 14 rebounds for Thompson, and she's still going.
If this isn't her career high at Capital, this has got to be pretty doggone close.
Interestingly, in that Mount Union game, we've been trying to pass the score along in that one. They're up by 15, and Annie Bova has 30 over there. So those two girls putting on a show, two of the best in the OAC. It'll be a fun matchup when those two meet up again.
It's a good time to be wearing purple in the OAC, isn't it?
I guess so. But yeah, if this isn't her career high, it's at least the best game that we've seen from her in the last 2 years here.
Verkai called for the foul. Free throw is good for Thompson as she just continues.
And she's composing herself. Again, last year she would get into that anger mode, and she didn't know when to kind of settle things down. And she's playing a very calm, angry, if you will, today. Lots of tenacity in her game.
Second free throw. Good for KT.
And she's using it as an asset now.
Timeout taken by Capital. We'll take a timeout as well. 2:42 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital 68, Calvin 61. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. For 50 years, I've witnessed some of the greatest contests in college football. Young men in competition reaching for their potential at the highest level. But their courage is more than matched by another group of young men, the boys fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It is the most prolific genetic killer diagnosed in childhood, and there is no cure. But college football coaches are doing something about it, and you can help. It's called Coach to Cure MD. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 to donate $5 on your next mobile phone bill, or go online at coachtocuremd.org. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 today.
Back here at the Capital Center, 2:42 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is Capital leading 11th ranked Calvin 68-61. Springer will bring the ball up the court for Calvin.
Pretty much have to score this possession.
Springer on the left wing. Hands off. Three-pointer on the way, and it'll rattle home for Verkite.
Wow, that was clutch, Charlie.
68-64. Capital with a 4-point lead. Watchman now over to Gage. Gage taking her dear sweet time on the right wing as she points everything out. Gage still with the basketball on the right wing. Now over to Fondesi. Back to Gage. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Simone dribbling between her legs. Trying to back her man down. Nearly loses the ball. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Over to Fondesi. Fondesi, long jumper. Colleen not able to knock it down. And the rebound is taken by Abby Springer. Under 2 to play. Capital with a 4-point lead. Calvin back with the basketball. They go down low. They will go back outside to Springer. Springer will drive on in. A three-pointer on the way for Verkijk. Verkijk misses it, but she's able to regain her own rebound. She'll launch another three. It is no good. And a rebound, and the putback good for Allie Spade.
Wow.
2-point lead for Capital. A minute and a half to play. Watchman able to break the press once again. She has been really good at that tonight.
And I don't like that Thompson's only touch last possession came from outside of the three-point line. You got to go back down to her.
And a foul is going to be called against Calvin. Verkijk is going to be called for the reach-in foul. Another timeout is going to be taken. Let's catch our breaths one more time. 1:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is Capital 68, Calvin 66. A thrilling conclusion next here on the Capital Sports Network.
It's a message for the nurses among us, for those who dream of saving lives, for those who are driven to improve care, and for those ready to help heal what's broken, be it a single bone fracture or an entire hospital system. Capital University's advanced nursing programs are built for you. Engaged faculty, immersive learning, and intimate classes where you'll know everyone's name. To learn more, visit capital.edu/nursing. Advanced nursing at Capital University, for those driven to do more.
1:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital a little over a minute away from securing a win over a top 15 team. They lead Calvin 68-64 alongside Jimmy Bloomfield. I'm Charlie Danis. Here comes the exciting conclusion.
Got to get it to Thompson on this possession.
Gage spinning. Now to Napolitano over to Fondesi. Fondesi, long jumper. Colleen, no good. And the rebound is taken by Verkijk. Under a minute to play. Springer, cross half court. Now she'll drive on in. She'll lay it up and in. We got ourselves a tie ball game with 52.2 seconds to go.
7-0 run for Calvin to tie it up.
Watchman brings it across half court. Now it's back in the hands of Gage.
2 for 1 if you go now.
39 seconds and counting. Now it's over to Napolitano, to Watchman. They try to get it on the inside to Thompson, and it's a turnover. Calvin back with the basketball. 27 seconds and counting. Now it's over to Springer. Calvin can virtually hold for the last shot of the game. There's a 2-point-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. It's in the hands of Spade. Now it's skipped over to Verkijk. Verkijk along the baseline. Back outside. 10 seconds. 7 seconds on the shot clock. And a timeout taken by Calvin. All right. We'll keep it right here at the Cap Center. Let me try to reset for you folks as best I can. There is 8.1 seconds remaining on the game clock. There are 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock for Calvin. The arrow is in favor of Capital, in case you were wondering.
That is big.
And let's see here. Each team has a timeout remaining.
7-0 run to tie this game. Cap had their largest lead of the day at 7 with 2:42 left to go. Calvin hit a big-time 3. I believe it was Verkijk that hit the first 3 of the run. And they've gotten 2 baskets since to tie this thing. Capital, their last 3 possessions, 2 Fondesi shots that were from almost a 3-point range, and then a turnover. Not how you want to close out.
Abby Springer will inbound hit from the baseline for Calvin. She'll get it in. Jumper. No, a foul's going to be called against Calvin. An offensive foul called against the Knights. 7.2 seconds remaining, and Capital gets the ball back.
That is a huge call.
What was it?
They called an off-ball screen there to free up the shooter, Verkijk. Oh, my goodness. What a huge call to make. Now your Capital, Jenna Irwin is normally your go-to shooter, but she hasn't really played at all in the second half. And you have 7 seconds to get it up the court and get down low to Thompson. But you got to think they're going to have 3 or 4 bodies on her. It's going to probably come down to maybe a Sigmund or a Watchman maybe making a mid-range jump shot to win this thing, unless you want to have Gage drive and try to win it on a floater.
7.2 seconds remain in regulation. The game is tied at 66. Again, the arrow is still in favor of Capital in case that situation arises here in the final seconds of regulation.
Dixie's sticking with Fondesi, it looks like, and Sigmund's going to stay on the bench as well as Irwin. So I don't know who they're going to draw this play up for. I guess your best shooter is probably Watchman, maybe from a mid-range standpoint, maybe Fondesi, but Fondesi's missed 2 shots here. And maybe you just take your chances and try to have Gage drive. If Thompson's open, kick it. If not, shoot it, and that might be your best chance here.
What an exciting ball game.
Key to note now, Calvin has 2 fouls to give. So if there is a situation where maybe Thompson gets open or Gage has a lane, you can always just foul. Make sure that they're not shooting while you foul, and then you just have to reset the possession. So 2 fouls to give. Don't be surprised to see Calvin try to kill this clock a little bit and foul once or twice.
Capital and Calvin back out on the floor. Tie game, 68 all. 7.2 seconds remaining in regulation. Everybody on their feet here at the Cap Center. Napolitano gets it into Simone. Gage on the right wing. Simone will drive on in, kicks it to Fondesi. Fondesi for 3. Oh. No good. And we are going to overtime. And a nice setup on the play.
I don't know why Calvin didn't foul there. With 3 seconds left, they could have just grabbed Gage, and they would have been fine. They would have had to inbound the ball again and set something up. A pretty good look. But again, if that's Irwin instead of Fondesi there, maybe that shot goes down. I don't know. Irwin hasn't really played in the second half, and I'm not quite sure why, Charlie.
So, extra time.
Who am I to question Dixie, though? I mean, 30 years in the business. She knows what she's doing out there, but she really likes this unit of 5, and this is going to be a heck of an overtime period. What a game that we've been here.
Yes, a tremendous game here at the Cap Center. So we head to overtime, 5 minutes of extra play here in Bexley. Let's get you reset here with some stats. It's been the Kristen Thompson show tonight for Capital. 30 points, 14 rebounds for the senior from Cincinnati. Shelby Sigmund also having a nice game for Capital with 13 points. Meanwhile, Allie Spade with 20 points for Calvin. Verkijk with 13 points also for the Knights. So now both these teams will head back onto the hard court after a frenzied finish. I guess you could call it free basketball here at the Cap Center. Calvin ranked 11th in the country. Capital trying to improve to 9-2 on the season. And now, hold up here, the tip between Emily Brie Lertzma and Thompson. Now they had to switch sides. Thompson wins it for Cap.
Oh, that was a legitimate gripe from Calvin's sideline. It was a terrible toss. They pretty much tossed it right to Thompson. Oh, not a good start to the overtime.
Good start for Capital, though.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a very poor jump ball thrown right to Thompson.
Thompson to Gage on the left wing. Game tie at 68. Gage will drive and up the glass and in for Simone as she went baseline. 2-point lead for Cap.
Worth noting, Anna Timmers fouled out of this game meanwhile. And 4 fouls for Verkijk and Carger both in the game right now for Calvin.
70-68 lead for Capital. 4:20 remaining in overtime. Three-pointer is on the way. It's no good. And it's tapped to Thompson. She'll feed it ahead now to Simone. Simone up the court. And she was fouled on the play. So she will head to the free throw line.
They got another break, I think. That looked like all ball. And we'll keep taking them. If they want to give us these breaks, you got to take advantage of them. They got a quick bucket after the poor tip up on the opening tip here of the overtime. And now let's see Gage knock these things down here.
Simone Gage, the Dayton, Ohio native, at the free throw line. First toss, no good for Simone. It stays a 70-68 game in favor of Capital. 4:10 remaining in overtime. Gage, second free throw. Oh boy, that was woefully short. As Capital, this is an opportunity to lengthen their lead. It's still a 70-68 game in favor of the Crusaders. Driving on in, but a turnover, but it
hit the backboard.
It hit the backboard, and it will go to Capital. I thought for a second that Fondesi might have fumbled it out of bounds that time.
Yeah, I think it hit the backboard. That was a good call by the official. Hit the bottom of the backboard, and then hit Fondesi.
Napolitano gets it in.
Nice pass.
Gets it to Simone Gage as, again, Capital continues to do a great job of breaking that full court press by Calvin.
They've executed their game plan. There's no doubt about that.
Napolitano over to Simone. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Simone on the left wing. Over to Fondesi. 6 seconds. Fondesi dribbles in. Simone over to Napolitano. Three-pointer. Nina, no good. But Nina gets the offensive rebound. Out to Simone. Fresh shot clock for Cap. Capital 70. Calvin 68. 3:15 to play in overtime. Watchman drives on in, and she got fouled.
Nice pass by Thompson, just clearing everything out of that paint. Watchman with a nice backdoor cut. No one picked her up. Knock these things down here. This is interesting that Sigmund and Irwin have really not played at all in this closing minutes of this game, including the overtime. And Fondesi and Watchman, the two bench players, are getting that trust from Dixie.
And a missed free throw for Annika. Let's see if she can redeem herself with a second try. Second try is good. 71-68. Capital with a 3-point lead. 3:10 remaining in overtime. Springer brings the ball up for Calvin. Spinning around in the lane. Shot no good. Thompson with the rebound. Watchman ahead to Simone. Simone lays it up, and she missed it. Just not enough on that shot for Simone. Oh, you just hope that shot doesn't come back and bite Capital. 2:47 remaining in overtime. Still a 3-point lead for Cap. Springer Feeds it ahead to Verkijk. Verkijk misses the shot. And now a foul called on the inside. Bree Lertsma was fouled on the play, so she'll head to the free throw line. Looked like it was on Thompson, maybe?
Yeah, I think that they got Thompson there, kind of just in the way, really. Didn't do anything malicious. And it looks like Sigmund's going to be checking in. I'm wondering who she's going to come in for here. It'll be interesting to see.
Lertsma's first free throw. No good. Sigmund will check in for Napolitano.
Yeah, that's what my guess would have been. I would imagine Fondacy's out there because they like having the two tall players in the game, give them some more size, and that's why Fondacy's been in.
Second free throw good for Lertsma. 71-69. Capital now with a 2-point lead. Coming up on 2.5 to play in overtime. Watchman breaks the press once again. Gets it back out to Simone. Fondacy, top of the arc. Now to Sigmund on the left wing. Shelby will bounce it over to Annika. Watchman now on the left wing. Over to Shelby. Now to Simone. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Simone driving on in off the glass and gets it to go. Simone Gage.
And there again, makes the real tough one after missing the bunny earlier.
Three-pointer on the way. It is no good. Offensive rebound for Calvin. Another foul called on the inside against Capital.
Went on Sigmund. She hit the head of one of the players from Calvin there on accident.
Tiffany Carter with a missed three-pointer, by the way. So now Lertsma heads back to the free throw line.
62% on the year.
First free throw is good for Lertsma.
2 for 3 today now.
5'9" sophomore from Holland, Michigan.
She had 19 in the game yesterday, has just 6 today.
Second free throw, no good. And the rebound taken by Annika Watchman. Under 2 to play. It's a 3-point lead for Cap. We're in overtime here at the Cap Center. Bounced in. Now Gage somehow gets it over to Sigmund. Ball was rolling on the ground momentarily. Watchman down the lane. Back out to Simone. Over to Sigmund. Sigmund for 3. That is no good, but Thompson gets another offensive rebound for Capital. And now a foul is going to be called against Calvin. Boy, and I can tell you right now, the Knights should be very upset about that call because I think Thompson might have gotten away with an elbow.
Yeah, it looked like a flop.
Verkijk is the one hit with the foul regardless.
And that's Verkijk's 5th as well, which is big. Verkijk hit the 3 that started their run at the end of regulation there. So she's out for the day. Timmer's already done for the day as well. Springer's one foul away from being done herself.
And Calvin's bench is still arguing, hey, that was an arm bar.
I think that they could have let it go without a whistle either way. I think it was maybe a little bit of a flop, and it was a pretty bad elbow as well from Thompson. I think both might have been at fault.
So now Mackenzie Sheldon checks in for Calvin.
And Coach Ross needs to be really careful because you do not want a technical foul to decide this game. And the referee telling him to sit down, and he does exactly that. Yes, sir. But he made his point known. And now Thompson is not shooting free throws. They did call a technical. Charlie.
Wow. Watchman will go to the free throw line.
Oh, they called a technical. That is.
Uh-oh.
Coach Ross. That really hurts.
First free throw is good for Watchman.
That might decide this game, Charlie.
Yeah. It's been a great game here at the Cap Center. You'd hate to see a great game end on something like that, honestly. Watchman's second free throw is good. So, free throws made by Watchman. It's now a 5-point lead for Capital. And now Thompson goes to the free throw line. If she makes both of them, that will give Cap a 7-point lead with 1:33 remaining in overtime. Thompson's first free throw is good. 6-point edge for Capital. 31 points for Kristen Thompson.
17 rebounds. 8 of 11 from the free throw line, too. A 54% or 56% shooter entering today.
Second free throw is good for Thompson. Make it 32 points. To say Kristen Thompson brought her A game tonight is a huge understatement.
There's your tournament MVP. Again, win or lose. She's been the best player in this tournament.
Springer on the left wing. Driving against Watchman, and Watchman's going to be called for the foul. That stops the clock with 1:20 to play in overtime. With Capital leading Calvin by 7.
Allows Calvin to get 3 points with the clock stopped. You never want to foul in this situation.
So now Abby Springer will head to the free throw line. Calvin ranked 11th in the country. Free throw on the way. No good. Free throws have really hurt Calvin in this game. They're only 57% from the foul line. Second free throw. No good. But the offensive rebound taken by Lertzma. Lertzma back outside. It was tipped away by Gage. It'll go out of bounds and still be Calvin basketball. 1:16 remaining in overtime. Springer will inbound it from the far side. She will get it in to Carger. Now it's back to Springer. Springer hands off to Lertzma. Back outside. Carger for 3. No good. Thompson with another rebound, and a jump ball is going to be called. It's going to go to Calvin. 1:05 now remaining in overtime. Springer will now inbound it from the baseline. Springer trying to get it in and almost throws it away, but Lertzma is able to get to it. Springer, three-pointer, no good. Thompson, another rebound for KT, and she was fouled. 57 seconds remaining in overtime.
Make your free throws, this thing's over.
Capital with a 7-point lead over 11th ranked Calvin.
21 of 29 at the stripe. If they make both of these free throws, they would have made as many free throws as Calvin has attempted, which is always a stat that coaches love to go for.
KT, first free throw, no good. It stays a 7-point lead for Capital. And now what's the call?
Maybe a lane violation.
Looks like it goes against Sigmund.
Oof.
In any case, 53 seconds remaining. Now it's Abby Springer. Springer over to Carger. Carger outside, Spade for 3, no good. Rebound is chased down by Sigmund. And Sigmund to Watchman across half court, and Watchman will be fouled.
Smart to give it up there, let Watchman take the free throws instead.
35 seconds remaining in overtime. Capital with another opportunity to add to their 7-point lead.
Capital in the last coach's poll was 3 spots out from being ranked, and I would assume with this win, we might see them creep back into the polls again.
First free throw. No good for Watchman. Let's see if Annika can sink the second one. Second free throw. Good for Annika. 8-point lead for Capital. Under 35 seconds to play in overtime. Springer hustles up the court. Back outside. Quick three-pointer. Carger, no good. And an offensive rebound taken by Springer. Another long three-pointer. That's no good for Spade. Thompson. The ball goes off of Thompson. 17.1 seconds to play. The players can feel it. The coaching staff can feel it. The fans can certainly feel it as they come to their feet here at the Cap Center. Three-pointer on the way for Shelton. That's no good. Another rebound for Kirsten Thompson. She's fouled once again. 12.7 seconds until another win for Capital. This one over a top 15 team.
Calvin has scored just 2 points in the overtime period, Charlie.
Capital has outscored them 10-2 during extra time.
Remember, they had a 7-0 run to tie the game at the end of regulation. They scored the last 7 points in the final 2.5 minutes to tie this game. Sorry, go ahead.
Thompson misses the first free throw. Sorry about that, Jimmy.
I was going to say, a huge offensive foul gave Calvin had a chance to win this game. A huge offensive foul erased that chance. Capital missed the shot, but the overtime has belonged to them.
Gage will check out. So will Fondesi, and Sigmund coming in will be Risner, Moran, and Meredith Ovies. Thompson's second free throw on the way. It is good for KT. And now KT will check in, and she will get the biggest applause of all. Chelsea Pla now out on the floor for Capital. 12.7 seconds to go. 9-point lead for Capital. Calvin will simply inbound it. Springer will bring it across half court. She will jack up a three. It's no good. Moran tips it over to Lertzma. Lertzma will put up a three. That's no good, and that will be it. The 11th ranked team in the country goes down in Bexley tonight as Capital defeats Calvin by a final score of 79-70. Stay with us, folks. Coming up next, we'll have the Peking Dynasty post-game show. You'll get to hear a little bit of the on-court ceremony with Capital winning the Marriott-Columbus Airport Women's Basketball Holiday Tournament tonight. Again, the final score, Capital defeats 11th ranked Calvin 79-70. This has been a presentation of women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. For 50 years, I've witnessed some of the greatest contests in college football. Young men in competition reaching for their potential at the highest level. But their courage is more than matched by another group of young men, the boys fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It is the most prolific genetic killer diagnosed in childhood, and there is no cure. But college football coaches are doing something about it, and you can help. It's called Coach to Cure MD. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 to donate $5 on your next mobile phone bill, or go online at coachtocuremd.org. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999.
Team, let us present our finalist teams with their plaques. First, our runners-up, we'd like to congratulate Calvin College for being the runner-up in the Marriott-Columbus Airport Holiday Tournament. We'd like to invite the captain and the coach to come forward to accept your plaque. Congratulations to Calvin College for being the runner-up in the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Holiday Tournament. And now the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Holiday Tournament champion, your Capital Crusaders. Congratulations to the Crusaders. I'd like to announce our alternate team. From Allegheny College, Jessica Majenovich. From Missouri-Corning, Justine Seeley. From Calvin College, Alice Cade. And from Capital, Simone Gage. Now the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Holiday Tournament Championship Most Valuable Player, Christian Thompson. Dixie Jeffers and the entire Capital University crew, we wish to you and yours a very happy and healthy new year. Please arrive home safely. Our tournament homepage will be updated shortly, so if you'd like to view the games again or see the stats that detail all the action from
That was public address announcer Neil Shapiro with the on-court ceremonies, and very well deserving the MVP honors of the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Women's Basketball Holiday Tournament going to Kristen Thompson. She had herself a heck of a game for Capital tonight. She helps lead Capital to a 79-70 overtime win over 11th ranked Calvin. Hello, folks. Welcome into the Peking Dynasty postgame show. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Before we get into specifics, Jimmy, what a game.
What a great game it was indeed, Charlie. Obviously, with that 68-61 lead with 2.5 minutes to go, you thought it was comfortable for Cap, and Calvin hits a three. All of a sudden, they're right back in it. Very interesting last few seconds with an offensive foul call that negated a chance for Calvin to win the game, really. It goes to overtime. Capital gets out to an early lead in OT, and then a technical foul with about a minute and a half left really decided this game. Gave Capital 2 free throws when they already had 2 free throws coming, a 3-point lead. I believe they made 3 of the 4 free throws, gave themselves a 7-point lead, or 6-point lead. And from there, it was just smooth sailing. And a really impressive performance from Kristen Thompson, probably the best game of her career. And I think the ceiling is just that much higher. She can still play better than she did today, sadly. And shockingly, really. I mean, she scores 33 and 19, and we're saying that she could still do more for this team. And she might have a bigger game in her still this season. They might need her to have one.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the final stats from this very exciting affair. First for Calvin, the night shot 40% from the field, 29.4% from three-point range. Overall, they shot around 70% in the first half. Jimmy, they went really cold for the perimeter.
Yeah, they were 7 for 9 to start us off from outside. They ended up jacking up 34 threes. So they started 7 for 9 and then made 3 of their next 25 from outside. And that we said at halftime it was going to be the difference in this game, the three-point shooting and the rebounding. Capital out-rebounded Calvin 52-34. And Calvin ended up shooting 29% from outside. That's why they got the win today.
Calvin shot 52.2% from the free throw line as well. In terms of scores for Calvin, Allie Spade led the way for the Knights with 20 points, 13 points for Callie Verkijk, 6 points for Bree Lertzma, 7 points for Abby Springer, 6 points for Anna Timmer, 3 points for Becca Richards, 9 points for Lauren Goldthorpe, and 6 points for Tiffany Carger. Meanwhile, for Capital, the Crusaders shot 38% from the field, only 20% from three-point range, 2 of 10 from beyond the arc, 23 of 34 from the foul line, good for 67.6%. In terms of scores, well, Kristen Thompson was the one that led the way for the Crusaders, 33 points, 19 rebounds. She shot 11 of 18 from the field, 11 of 16 from the foul line. 11 points for Simone Gage to go along with 4 assists in this game. 5 points for Nina Napolitano, 4 points for Jenna Irwin, 13 points for Shelby Sigmund, 7 points and 7 rebounds for Annika Watchman, 2 points for Colleen Fondesi, and finally 4 points and 5 rebounds for Chelsea Plouffe. As Jimmy mentioned, Capital won the rebounding battle, 52-34. Calvin, meanwhile, with 22 turnovers as opposed to 19 turnovers for Capital. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be joined by head coach Dixie Jeffers and get her thoughts on this exciting win over 11th-ranked Calvin. Again, Capital defeats Calvin by a final score of 79-70 in overtime. This is the Peking Dynasty postgame show.
Jimmy John's, world's greatest gourmet sandwiches. Head speaking.
Yes, I need a sandwich delivery right away.
What kind of sandwich?
I don't care. Just get it to 215 Elm Street right now.
I'm on my way.
Jimmy John's.
Thanks for getting here so fast. You're welcome, sir. Here's your sandwich. By the way, did you know your house is on fire?
That's why I called Jimmy John's.
Fire makes you hungry?
No, I knew you'd get here fast. Grab a bucket.
We're gonna need more than 2 guys, sir.
You're right. What'll we do?
Leave it to me, sir. Hello, boss. Send everyone you got to 215 Elm. Doesn't matter what kind of sandwich, sir. I'll explain later. Thank you, sir.
Jimmy John's. Come in. Sir, did you know your house is on fire? Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know your house is on fire?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket. Fire department. Come in. Sir, did you know you... It's okay, Captain. We got it handled. Care for a sandwich? Thanks, but tell me something. Shoot. Why didn't you call the fire department first? I did.
Welcome back to the Peking Dynasty postgame show. It's now time for our postgame coach interview brought to you by Jimmy John's, Freaky Fast Delivery, and world-class catering. You can count on Jimmy John's to get it right. Well, I'm Charlie Danis, and joining me now, the head coach of the Capital Women's Basketball Program, Dixie Jeffers. Well, Coach, 79-70 win over 11th-ranked Calvin in overtime. Before we get to specifics, that was one heck of a ball game.
It was a great game. We knew that if we came out that our best was going to be pretty good tonight.
and our kids wanted to play. We wanted the opportunity, and we got the opportunity, and we beat a very, very good basketball team tonight.
Kristen Thompson might have played the best game I've ever seen her play during my 2 years here at Capital. 33 points, 19 rebounds. She goes 11 of 18 from the field, but more importantly, 11 of 16 from the foul line.
Yeah, she should have 40. I mean, she was just unstoppable. She played like a woman tonight, possessed. And they did everything they could possibly do to stop her from getting the ball. And I kept wanting to get her the ball more and then tried to give her some relief with Simone going to the basket. She played awesome. All of our kids played awesome. And kudos to how hard our kids played because Simone was running on fumes.
A big key from this game, Coach, was you were able to break that press a lot. Annika Watchman and Simone were able to get through that press. You were able to set up your offense that way as well.
Well, we see, you know, we played Mount Union. They press. We played a lot of people this year that press. And when our heads are on and we're doing what we need to do, and I'm still upset because we didn't run exactly what I wanted to do. But we did a good enough job, and we did a nice job once we got down there of running the offense today.
Calvin goes on a 7-0 run to force overtime. You end up outscoring Calvin 11-2 in overtime. How big is the perseverance for this team?
It's huge. You got 5 seniors, you expect that out of 5 seniors. And, you know, Annika Watchman, I can't say enough good things about her. For a sophomore, she just has getting better and better and better. And that's a big game for her to be in. We just faced an Elite 8 team from last year, number 11, so with their true rankings or not, it was a good basketball game.
We'll get you out with this, Coach. How good does it feel to get a big win like this against a top 15 team heading into 2016?
It feels great, but you can't, you know, rest on your laurels. We got to get back. You know, we're going to take another break. We've been able to take 3 breaks, and it's our 3rd break, and I got kids traveling and so forth, and we're going to bring them back on Monday, and we're going to reload here because the conference is still tough.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Coach. So this is the Peking Dynasty post-game show. Dixie Jeffers joining us here. Big win for Capital this evening as Capital defeats Calvin by a final score of 79-70. Calvin came into this game as the 11th ranked team in the country, but they go down, which means Jimmy, Capital will find themselves back in the top 25, I would assume, rather quickly.
I would have to hope so. Polls haven't been updated since December 13th, so there's a lot of movement that's happened in about 3 weeks, but I would imagine they're going to be in there. And circle your calendars for January 23rd when Ohio Northern comes into town. That's going to be a really good game. Obviously, there's a lot of games in between there, and you take it game by game, but that's the one that I have circled right now for sure. Should be another fun one. Ohio Northern currently in the top 25 themselves, and Capital will be looking for some revenge. So if you want to find a can't-miss game on the calendar for women's basketball coming up, that's the one, Saturday, January 23rd.
Well, let's get you updated on the upcoming schedule here for Capital. Their next game will be January 9th in 2016, a road game at Baldwin-Wallace. They follow that up with a Wednesday night affair at Marietta on January 13th. Our next women's basketball broadcast won't be until January 16th. That'll be a Saturday. That'll be a home game against Heidelberg. That game will tip off at 3 o'clock. The pregame show will start at 2:30. Meanwhile, men's basketball, they will be back in action beginning on the 4th of January. That will be an oddly placed Monday night game. We don't often see a lot of those in January or February, but they will play on a Monday, the 4th to be more specific, at John Carroll. That game will tip off at 6 p.m. They'll follow that up with a non-conference affair at Denison. That game on the 6th, a Wednesday, with a tip-off time of 7 p.m. And then our next men's basketball broadcast will be Saturday, January 9th, a 2 o'clock tip, featuring Baldwin-Wallace. The Yellow Jackets coming to town, which means that we'll get the pregame show started with 1:30. A lot to like for both programs, Jimmy, as we head into the new year.
Some emerging players on both sides. Mark Mich and Michael Green are playing great basketball for the men, as they've had over 2 weeks of a layoff. Then they're going to have to play 3 games in 5 days. So that's going to be really interesting to see where the fatigue level's at the end of the weekend there. On the women's side, obviously Thompson's emerging. You have Watchman really emerging as well, and becoming a player that's fun to watch. And a lot of good things, a lot of things to be excited about, I should say, on both sides of the men's and women's programs. Both teams right now in the middle of the OAC in their respective genders, and the first few games are going to be big. You got to separate yourself. That's what these first few games are of the new year. It's going to be a really brutal January for the men. The women are going to be on the road again a lot. And then in February, that's when they're really going to have a home team or a home court advantage. And again, that game on the 23rd against Ohio Northern, that could be the real turning point of this season, whether it be a good or bad result there.
What an exciting game here tonight. Jimmy, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Have a happy New Year. I'll see you in 2016.
Yeah, you too, man, and everyone out there, have a good holiday.
For my broadcast partner, Jimmy Bloomfield, this is Charlie Daniels saying one final time. The final score tonight, Capital defeats 11th-ranked Calvin 79-70 in overtime. They win the 2015 Marriott-Columbus Airport Women's Basketball Holiday Tournament. Again, our next broadcast will be Saturday, January 9th, when the men take on Baldwin Wallace, beginning at 2 o'clock, the pregame show starting at 1:30. Have a happy New Year, everyone.